accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the advocates can help. Speaking with an attorney is simple and 100% free. We're available 24/7 for your convenience, and we'll take on the claims process so you can rest easy. Because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
This is the Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, the Monty Show live on your YouTube machine. Happy Friday, January 17th, 3-day weekend. Bye-bye. Don't call me. Did we decide if we're doing a show on Monday? Yeah, probably not. You're lazy. Big Deion Sanders to the Dallas Cowboys update for you this morning. Is Deion Sanders Coach Prime? Is he leaving Colorado? Are the rumors true that Colorado will not pay to keep Deion Sanders? Are the rumors true that the Dallas Cowboys are all in? Jera wants Coach Prime. We have all the details for you, presented by the Advocates at theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. Hello, San Diego. Brand new offices in San Diego, Las Vegas, Phoenix, of course, the great state of Utah, Idaho, Montana. No matter where you're watching the show, the Advocates have you covered. When you've been in an accident, maybe you got hurt at work, it's one of the worst days of your life. You need somebody to fight for you. The Advocates are going to give you clear, risk-free advice. And the best part is you're never going to reach into your pocket to pay the Advocates, because you don't pay the Advocates unless and until they win your case. Chat with an injury attorney live online 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. Let's see what you guys think about this Deion Sanders story, because I think this weekend could be a critical weekend for the Dallas Cowboys, depending on what happens in the games, because obviously we have a lot of games, and this one right here, Cliff Kingsbury.
Cliffy.
The sex machine known as Cliff Kingsbury, offensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders. They're in Detroit on Saturday night. If Detroit, as most people think, wins that game, Cliff Kingsbury immediately starts interviewing for jobs. And obviously the reports coming out about Deion Sanders and the Dallas Cowboys having significant mutual interest in each other. This report now, if this was just from Jimmy Blowhard on the tweet machine, I'd be like, okay, same as it ever was. But the reports that we're talking about now, it's Ed Werder, who is an insider who knows the Dallas Cowboys very well, who knows Jera very well. I'm being told he would almost certainly accept if Jerry Jones offers to make him the next coach of the Cowboys. Those around him are encouraging him to pursue it, and Jones is enamored with the idea.
Yeah.
That is a huge update. And if it is in fact true that the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones want to bring in Coach Prime, I think it's a done deal, because I do believe that there are very few jobs that Deion Sanders would leave Boulder for. And I think if Jerry Jones rings your phone, how do you not answer it? How do you turn that call down? You don't, especially if you're Deion Sanders, who has a relationship. Obviously, he played in Dallas. All of the stories about the money and Stephen Jones, all of that is out there now. We all know the relationship that's in place. I think Deion Sanders is the guy that they need in Dallas. They need somebody who can handle the ultra bright Jerry Jones spotlight, somebody who can not get upset or off put by the ridiculous things that Jerry Jones says to the media, the refusal to negotiate contracts at the right time. Deion can handle all of that. He's been there as a player. He's been there now as a coach. Nothing's going to faze him. And Jake, I think Deion Sanders is exactly what the Dallas Cowboys need.
Most certainly, and I think the hard part for Deion and Jerry is that they're going to have to come together on obviously on a contract, but I just think on the vision moving forward for the Cowboys. I mean, I think we've heard, if you've been following this story, even that there's a million different scenarios about what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do with their roster, and specifically, hey, can they trade up in the draft? Could it be Shador and Deion? Could it be this? Could it be that? And I think one of the biggest things that people just kind of forget about is that they got to get a deal done first. Like, you got to work this out first. And I think what's difficult is that Deion is a really good businessman. Deion understands what he needs, how he has to go about it in the day-to-day in order to have success. And so my biggest question with all of this is not whether Deion is interested in the job. I mean, if Ed Werder is saying you're interested on that level, you're definitely interested. I think the bigger issue here is that Deion has to navigate the waters of how he leaves Boulder and how he takes this job. And you look at this Ed Werder tweet, and I'm just saying, like, dude, like, this is a pretty, like, this is pretty definitive by reporting standards. You're not saying that he might be interested or that, Jerry might be interested. You're saying that Jerry Jones is enamored by the idea of Deion coaching this team, that, in other words, to say he's over the moon about it. He loves the idea. He's excited about the idea. So I would agree that Deion, from a media standpoint, is a great candidate for this job. But I'm just wary of, what is the negative part of the conversation for these two? Because when it comes to Jerry Jones, there's always something that the head coach has to deal with. And I'm just really curious what that is for Deion Sanders.
I think there's a couple of things that stand out to me about this move. First of all, this would be devastating for the Big 12. Deion Sanders has been everything that's been right for a league that has struggled to be in the national spotlight. Frankly, Big 12 football, and I know this is not a revelation, Big 12 football has not been good recently. Deion Sanders lit the Big 12 on fire 2 years ago when he took this job. Shador Sanders has been arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the country, let alone the Big 12. Travis Hunter won the Heisman Trophy. There's no question his TV numbers are massive. The advertising numbers, like everything that goes with that. Then you get down to a more granular level and you look at what Deion has meant to Colorado football. Again, he has been a brand new day. He has been historic at Colorado. This would be a devastating move. But you know what the truth is? Deion Sanders can't worry about that. Deion Sanders has earned the right to take whatever job he wants.
Facts.
Deion Sanders did not sign a lifetime contract at Colorado. Deion Sanders has never said he will never leave Colorado. And this idea amongst Buffalo fans that Deion Sanders would never leave our job. He says he likes the snow. Well, I got news for you. I think Deion Sanders likes winning. And if he can go to Dallas and he believes he can win a Super Bowl, Deion Sanders is going to take that meeting. And my bet is Deion would take that job if it was offered to him, as he should. That doesn't make him, and let's get out ahead of this just in case. That doesn't make Deion Sanders a villain. It doesn't make Deion Sanders a bad guy. It doesn't make Deion Sanders a liar and a traitor. It makes Deion Sanders a competitor. It makes Deion Sanders a professional. It is not in any way, shape, or form a slight against him. And I think already Buffalo fans, Colorado fans are already trying to paint that picture. If he leaves, what? If he leaves, what? You're going to have a tough time replacing him. So appreciate every moment that you have with the guy. And if he happens to stay, you better support him more than you've ever supported him in the past. Which brings us to our next point. Because Jane Slater had a very interesting tweet. And this has been going around for a few days now. Two people with knowledge of the situation tell me Deion Sanders approached Rick George, the athletic director at Colorado, Tuesday about additional money for NIL and his staff. He was met with resistance. The University of Colorado would neither confirm or deny the information. Deion Sanders didn't respond reached multiple times for comment. Nor should he, nor should they. I got news for you. This is not why Deion Sanders has taken the Cowboy job if he should.
Yeah, and this story reeks of people trying to turn this into something that it just doesn't need to be. I mean, I really agree with the sentiment that, hey, like, you know, people want to turn this into Deion's a bad guy, or Deion, you know, shouldn't be interested somehow in an NFL gig, or like Deion shouldn't do this or Deion shouldn't do that because it makes him a bad guy. And Jen Slater, you know, is great at what she does, and I'm not discrediting what she's saying at all. I just think the timing of this reporting is really interesting in the sense that, you know, this Dallas Cowboy Deion situation has obviously been growing and in stature in the media cycle, but now we're getting reporting out of her that, oh, well, maybe Rick George isn't so willing to give Deion more money, as if to say, well, hey, you're looking at the Cowboy job, maybe we're not so interested in putting even more money in the pot for you to work with, you know, for your staff and in NIL. So I don't know how much of that I buy into, to be honest with you. I don't know. Like, Rick George has been all in on Deion Sanders and getting this program back to national championships. He's done media session after media session. He's done interview after interview talking about how their goal is to win national championships, and that they are fully committed financially, that they're going to give Deion whatever he needs. So I just think it's interesting that this reporting comes out in a time when Deion's looking at the Cowboy job. And I think that's the hard part, is like, you know, you look at the timing of the reporting, it's like, well, how much credence are we really gonna put into that, or is it real? That's the hard part. That's what I think we.
But
we
let's
have to
be
figure
honest,
out.
Rick George in Colorado, they've dealt with a lot of Deion flack, right? I mean, you look at some of the more infamous things Deion or Shador, and you look at some of the things they've said and done that turn people off. You look at how controversial the hire was in the first place. There's no question that Colorado raised Deion Sanders' profile as a coach, and he raised theirs. I think Rick George has supported Deion Sanders almost at every turn, at least what we've seen publicly. They've paid him well. He's expanded the coaching staff there.
Yeah.
They've paid for guys like Shermer, Sapp. They've paid for his assistants to travel the world, to chase NIL deals. Anybody telling you that Colorado has not supported Deion Sanders, I think doesn't know what they're talking about. And I think Deion Sanders has never said that. He has never criticized Colorado. I think this is what happens when people are looking to insert narratives into stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this feels like an exit strategy for people who think that Deion either should go to the Cowboys or whatever your position is.
And you're just injecting drama into it to make it feel a little better as to why he would leave.
I don't buy this. And the idea that Deion wouldn't comment on it. When has Deion Sanders ever put his business out in the public?
Yeah, never.
Never. The guy is, say what you want about Coach Prime or Deion Sanders. The guy is a very savvy businessman. Him talking about his business at Colorado, there's no win in that.
Yeah, it does nobody any good at all. And I think furthermore, like, you know, it's also, if you're Deion Sanders, I also think there's some of this where you got to be really, really aware of like who you are and where you are in this process. Because I also think that, you know, Shador hasn't been drafted yet. And I think that if you're Deion Sanders, if you can just get through this process and continue to take the high road and not get wrapped up in all this drama and the reporting and all that nonsense, you're going to be just fine. But I will say that there is a lot of value here in moving swiftly one way or the other. What you don't want to do is you don't want to let this thing, bleed out till next Friday. Like, you can't have, like, there's got to be finality one way or the other. I would think by Monday. I would think if this weekend they can't get a contract done, if this weekend you can't finalize it and announce it, I don't know what else, you would be waiting on, because Deion Sanders isn't playing games right now, right? Like, obviously their season's over. They're in the middle of the off season.
Yeah.
You're focused on recruiting and NIL and, doing work in the portal and all that stuff as a college football coach. So to me, if you don't get a deal done by Monday, or I guess let's even call it Tuesday, since Monday is a holiday. If you don't get a deal done by Tuesday, I think there's going to be serious questions about, hey, like, what are we doing? Right. And we're going to talk about the Bears and the head coaching stuff later in the show. But to that end, anybody looking at hiring a head coach right now, I really do feel like, hey, you've got to, get this done. And yes, there are games this weekend in the NFL. Yes, it is company policy. Typically, whether it's the NBA or the NFL, you're not going to announce a ton of news while games are going on. And, you don't want to detract from
You're not going to, and I will tell you that it is NFL policy. You do not announce hires Super Bowl week. So you really have 2.5 weeks or so to get this done.
Yeah.
And if the Commanders lose this weekend, I think you're going to see a lot of movement in the coaching circles.
Yeah.
I do. I think that this would be a very good move for Dallas, in my opinion. I think.
Yeah, I just don't think there's a whole lot of downside to it. I mean, I think,
risk for Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a win-win. I think the point of
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, what's the loss? I mean, how can they lose?
I think Jerry Jones is a very difficult guy to work with. If you are not a star player, and this is the only concern I have for Deion Sanders. At Jackson State, that was Deion Sanders. At Colorado, that's Deion Sanders. In Dallas, Deion's going to have very little control over what's going on in football. And Jerry Jones does not have a track record of supporting his coaches, in my opinion. How many times has he left Mike McCarthy twisting in the wind? Just in the short time that Mike has been there. Yeah. And I would again tell you, Mike McCarthy's done a really good job for the Dallas Cowboys.
I think the interesting part about that, though, is when you hire Deion Sanders, Deion knows how to play the media game, right? Like, obviously,
absolutely.
Deion is pretty much a shark when it comes to the media. He knows how to manipulate the media. He knows how to do a press conference, say the things he needs to say without explicitly speaking the words. He knows he is very, very good at navigating those waters. And I think the change in narrative in terms of how Jerry would handle Deion, to me anyway, is that you look at guys like Mike McCarthy or Jason Garrett or any of the dudes that have come before Deion in the last decade,
right?
Or the last 15 years, the last like 3-4 head coaches. None of those guys had the power with the media that Deion would have as the head coach.
So like
of
the
Dallas
hammer.
Yeah, like if Jerry Jones. Let's say Deion had been the head coach when Jerry dragged his feet with all these contract negotiations. I think that Deion would have no problem saying, yeah, we need to get these guys signed. We need to be moving on these things. We need to I think Deion Sanders understands how to use the media to push Jerry Jones. And the problem for Jerry is that you can't just come out here when you're unhappy with Deion and fire the guy after a season, because if you do that, you look like an idiot.
But that's not who Jerry Jones has ever been. Jerry Jones has never fired a guy after a season. If anything, he's held on.
Always conversations.
That's all well and good, but he's never been that guy, right?
Yeah.
He held on that Carrot Top way too long.
Yeah, Jason
Garrett held on to him too long. I don't like the way he treated Mike McCarthy. I think Mike McCarthy, again, and I have the graphic, Mike McCarthy did a really good job for the Dallas Cowboys. Mike McCarthy is a really good head coach. And to treat him the way you go back to last week when Jerry Jones refused to allow Mike to negotiate or go visit the Chicago Bears,
right?
Interview with the Bears, only for less than a week later to part company with him.
But we talked about that. That was a pride thing for Jerry, right? I mean, Jerry has shown himself to be a guy who has a lot of pride and on premise alone would not allow Mike McCarthy to go and do interviews. So I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you that I think Deion's got, it's not a win-win in terms of a win for both sides. I meant, for Jerry Jones, you can't, in my opinion, really lose in this situation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
With Deion, I would agree that he has a lot of risk in the sense that, it is a volatile situation. Now, on the flip side of that, if Deion Sanders can somehow find a way to start winning playoff games, Now we're having a different
But
conversation.
All I will say is look at what he's built at Jackson State and at Colorado. Deion Sanders has built an empire.
Mhm.
He is. Do you understand whether it's Blender, whether it's Aflac, look at all the deals he has on the side.
So many.
Look at all the players he's brought. Deion can't recruit. Look at all the players he's brought in. Deion can't coach. Look at the staff he's brought in. Look at the way that Deion is delegated to his staff. Look at the fact that he had Trevor Riley recruiting NIL deals internationally. Look at the way that he is almost universally respected by his players. Deion's built an empire. When you're sitting on top of the hill, where's the only place you can go?
Yeah.
Down the hill. And when you look at Jerry Jones, I think all of the risk, to your point, is on the Deion Sanders side. None of the risk is on the Dallas Cowboys side because nobody's going to question hiring Deion Sanders. Deion's going to bring in an incredibly competent coaching staff. Deion is a guy that is as tooled and ready and prepared to deal with today's NFL athlete of any coach that is in the NFL today.
Yeah,
any
I
of
would
them.
agree with that.
He is able to relate to young players. He is able to relate to old players. And again, you look at what he's doing with Coach Prime on Amazon Prime. By the way, of which Shaboy was on the show. Season 3, episode 5, 13 minutes and 54 seconds.
No, we can't play it. It's copyrighted.
Yeah. Anyway, look on my Twitter, look on my Insta Snap face. It's all there. Anyway, my point is, look at what he's doing with Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
You think Jerry Jones wants to go through Hard Knocks again? Why does he have to? He's got Coach Prime. He's got a show about the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
That's a win for Jerry Jones. I'm telling you, all of the risk in this is on Deion's side.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. All right, let's get your thoughts on it. Hook it up. I do have to sit here and I know I hate to do it. Well, actually,
and you're not that kind of guy, right?
I'm not.
You would never boast about your successes.
Real quick, before we get to and I don't want to get away from Deion and the Cowboys. This Barstool Big Cat bullshit in Chicago. Did you guys see this story? I am so upset about this because I don't like Dave Portnoy in a lot of ways pisses me off. I don't ingest a lot of Dave Portnoy's content. I really liked Big Cat. I really liked Barstool Chicago. And now it comes out that Big Cat is not from Chicago. Oh, it's not even the sad music. You stole from us. You stole from us. And listen, I understand branding and business. I'm going to tell you right now, as a born and raised Chicagoan, as a proud Chicagoan, as a passionate Chicago sports fan, as a long-suffering Chicago sports fan, it is complete bullshit that Big Cat lied and said he was from Chicago, and he is not. And not only is this guy not from Chicago, he's from fucking Boston. So he has no business on any level writing about Chicago. And I would have been okay if you'd have never brought it up, if you hadn't lied and said you were from Chicago, if you hadn't, it hadn't, pulled the wool over people's eyes and made us think you were from Chicago. I don't really care where you're from.
Yeah.
Until you tell me you're from Chicago and it turns out you're not.
Yeah.
And he goes on ESPN 1000 in Chicago yesterday and tries to do this mea culpa.
How did this come out? What happened here? That
he got outed essentially because what happened was Barstool Chicago really launched Barstool. It was, and for those of you who don't know, and you probably don't care about this, but Barstool Chicago launched Barstool.
Right.
And I have, like I said, I really like Big Cat's stuff. I follow him. I used to read his stuff routinely. Now I more watch him because he's everywhere. They do a great job with video at Barstool, and I actually really like a lot of the Barstool content. I don't like the misogyny. I don't like a lot of what Dave Portnoy's about, but I like some of Dave's podcast stuff, his video stuff. I like his pizza reviews, even though Chicago Pizza Cut and Squares is far better than anything that New York puts out.
Facts.
Different show.
Facts.
But my point is, Big Cat was Chicago sports because he was from Chicago. He was one of us.
Yeah.
And now it turns out you're full of shit and you're not from Chicago. And not only are you not from Chicago, you're from Boston, which makes it even worse. And it came out because he got outed on ESPN Chicago. That's how it came out. And it's really, really disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really. And if you're not, listen, I don't know. You probably think, you're parochial, or you don't understand it if you're not from Chicago. When you say you're from Chicago, you better be, because it's part of your brand. It's part of who you are.
Yeah.
You don't understand. And I would imagine most of you get this. If you are who are some of our best listeners? Mike Smith. If you're from West Virginia, if you're Oak State James, and I don't know where you're from because you like every school, but if you're from Utah, if you're from Las Vegas, Las Vegas might even be the best one. If you're from Las Vegas, if you're from Los Angeles, it's different because you understand the struggle that is Chicago sports. You understand the suffrage.
Yeah.
You understand the lifestyle of being a Chicago sports fan, but also being a Chicagoan. You understand the bone-chilling cold that you dealt with as a kid so you could play football in the front yard in the middle of a snowstorm.
Yeah, you do.
You understand why you cried tears of pain in 1984 when Leon Durham had Gatorade all over his glove. And it hurt my core. You understand as a young kid, as a 9-year-old in Northbrook, Illinois, when Kevin Butler made a field goal. And I went out into the backyard because I wanted to be a Chicago Bear.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid growing up in Chicago, I grew up in the prime Hawks run, 3 Stanley Cups in what was that, 7 years? I think it was 8 years. Like Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, Corey Crawford in net, that was it. That was everything.
I can tell you, that brought back a memory for me. I think it was 1980, whatever it was. And I'm pretty sure it was Kevin Butler kicked a field goal. And I want to say it was against the Lions because I hated the Lions. And I went out into my backyard and I was Kevin Butler. Dude, I will never forget the pain and the sound when I kicked that football and my feet came out from underneath me and I slammed myself on my back and the soul came out of my body and I thought I was going to die. But I would have died for the Chicago Bears. So it would have been okay.
What is this John comment right here? Second from the bottom. What is it? What is this one? Right there.
Oh, hey. Well, hello, John Momola.
Hey, John.
This is a guy who I think would understand.
Hey, John.
Rock Momola, my guy, right? A Chicago guy, a radio guy. Rock, I think you would understand this conversation. He says there's a difference between being born and living in. Dan needs to be excused from his nickname moving forward. He will be forever known as Dan Katz. Big Cat is no more. Shame on him.
Yeah,
Exactly right.
I think that, one of the things that makes this worse is that, with all due respect to markets like Vegas or, the what I would call secondary market, like cities like LA, Chicago, New York, Boston, like the OG sports towns in this country, I think that makes it worse because you didn't grow up the way he grew up or the way I grew up or the way any Chicagoan grew up in the suburbs. You didn't grow up appreciating the McDonald's outside of Wrigley.
My life, Yum Yum Donuts outside of Wrigley Field.
Yeah, Yum Yum.
And if you're a White Sox fan or if you're
you don't know Superdog, bro. You don't know those spots.
More than that, you don't know. You're not from Chicago. Don't tell me you're from Chicago. And I agree with you. Big Cat is dead.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to fire the guy or I totally agree with you. Dan Katz put ketchup on his hot dog, and so do I. That doesn't mean I'm not from Chicago.
Yeah.
Rock doesn't even know this. That is a huge fight on this show. When you get a hot dog sandwich, because a hot dog is a sandwich, it's okay to put ketchup on it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't go to Superdog and put ketchup on it because I'm telling you, they will kill you.
Yeah.
But if some ketchup kind of dribbles on from the crinkle cut French fries, it happens. As a Chicago Cubs season ticket holder, this summer I will be putting ketchup on my hot dogs at Wrigley Field. By the way, my Chicago Cub bill is due next week, and it's $6,000.
Y'all feel me?
Hey, why don't you be from Boston? Will that get you a discount?
It won't. The Monty Show, as always, presented by our good friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the best mobile app on your phone for daily fantasy. It is fantastic. Tens of millions of users use Prize Picks because it's so easy. Download the app, open a new account, use the promo code Monty. You deposit $5. They're going to give you 50 more. And right now, you college football degenerates, Will Howard is a free play. Will Howard is half a yard passing, and you win on Will Howard. Here's the formula, and I tell you every day on this show. Flex play, and what a flex play is, you make, and my formula is 3 picks. And at Prize Picks, the best part is it's more or less. Will Howard, more or less than half a yard passing. I'm out on a limb here. I'm going to say he's going to have more than half a yard passing. More, and then, for instance, such as in like the greatest basketball player that anybody has ever seen, and he happens to be getting that from a Kardashian.
Yeah.
So he is a stud. Last night, my guy, Devin Booker. Did anybody see Booktastic last night? Devin Booker last night on a 39.5 point number. So is he going to have more or less than 39.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined?
Wet like I'm booked.
More. Because he had 37 points last night. 3 boards, 5 dimes. That's a 45 spot for the win. That's a 45 spot for the win. And I would also like to point out, now I probably should not be admitting that I wagered a little ducat on the Oklahoma City Thunder because
with all due respect,
certain such as in like viewers of this show have banned me from saying anything nice about the Thunder.
Yeah, the Thunder suck.
I will say though, I was a little nervous with my over 41.5 point number on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Your boy came through, bro.
Holy cow.
Your
40 points, 8 dimes, 3 rebounds.
Yeah. Talk about having a night. Will
Howard makes me a winner.
Yeah.
Dude, Monday's going to be a payday on the Monty Show. Hook it up, download the app, use the promo code Monty. You deposit $5 in a new Prize Picks account, they'll give you 50 more. Okay, let's get to work. You guys, bottom of my heart, thank you for being here.
Do you feel better after talking about Big Cat? Was kind of a cleanse?
I was really upset about that.
Yeah.
I was really upset.
Well, I mean, you should be upset about it. I mean, it's a poser move thing to do.
It didn't hurt my feelings. It was upsetting to me. It was upsetting as a Chicagoan, born and raised, good old Adlai Stevenson, Round Lake Beach High School, grew up in Northbrook, lived in Highland Park, lived in Round Lake, lived in Edgewater. I live and die Chicago. Somebody says, hey, where are you from? I'm from Chicago, man. Live and die. Love it.
Yeah.
So, Mike Smith from West Virginia. Big Cat should run for mayor. He'd probably get elected at this point. Stop. Maury Alvarez. I'm here to fight over hot dogs today. It is Friday. I am still of the opinion a hot dog is neither a taco nor a sandwich. No. First of all, it's too early to be doing ayahuasca this morning.
Well, if there's meat between 2 pieces of bread, it's technically a sandwich, Monty.
It's never, ever going to be or has been a taco. A hot dog. A hot dog is a sandwich. Nor a sandwich. A hot dog is a hot dog. It's like David Pumpkin. It's his own thing. Okay. Chewy Gonzalez. Good morning, Chewy. Barbecue sauce and jalapenos are the way to go. No.
Nah.
You don't put.
Sorry, bro. I can't go with you on that one. Sorry, man.
No. Rock says, if WMVP wants to be true Chicago, Dan Katz will no longer be allowed on that station. If the score is smart, they organize an anti-Katz rally for true Chicago fans. It is really upsetting. Yeah. Rock, am I making too much out of this? Like, you guys got to understand. Like, John Momola is a Chicago guy, and I think he gets it. And I don't think I'm making too much out of it. It is really upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're making too much of it. I think that it's a listen. There's a lot of, all jokes aside. Like, it's not like, Chicagoans, we don't enjoy sucking in sports. It's not fun. Like, again, growing up in the prime Derrick Rose era, the Hawks, like, the Bears at one point competing for the playoff. Like, okay, cool. But it's been like 10, 15 years now since that you've been relevant, and it sucks.
But the other part of this is Big Cat is also not an athlete. Walter Payton's not from Chicago, but he is Chicago.
Yeah, but he's a Chicago legend,
right?
Dude.
Like Ryan Sandberg's not from Chicago, but he is Chicago.
Did you see the story that Sammy Sosa is now welcome back with the Cubs?
Big Cat and Sammy Sosa can go chill together. Like, even.
They're both liars.
The day that bat broke for Sosa. No, I'm not going there. Anyway, my point is, it's just different. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
Red wine. Mike Jordan.
Who the hell is Mike Jordan?
Won a while back too. Michael Jordan. Mike Jordan.
Bro.
But again, 84. When you say to me as a Cubs fan, 84, 89. 2016, 2017. When you say to me Anthony Rizzo, Jody Davis, Leon Durham, Gary Woods, the guys of my past. When you say to me Larry Boa, Ryan Sandberg, when you talk about one of the greatest trades ever, Ryan Sandberg from Philadelphia, like it's my life. And that's why this was so upsetting. I'm probably making too much.
No, I don't think you're making. I think it's what we as sports fans go through, man.
Yeah. Monty's Big Cat angry colon cleanse makes him feel better. Well, it did actually feel like a cleanse. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. By the way, don't be afraid to mix back in Dallas Cowboys, Deion Sanders. And mix this into the comment section. Will Deion Sanders, if he takes that job, let's pretend Deion Sanders gets the Cowboy job. Will he be successful? And by successful, what does that mean? Will he take the Dallas Cowboys
NFC championship game regularly?
Will he win a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys as the head coach? Well, I'm going to say no, because I think it's unlikely most coaches win Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But I think he will be successful almost any way you slice it. Mr. Bucknuts. I wouldn't eat any hot dog. Well, they're terrible for you, but if you eat it once a year, twice a year.
When in Rome.
That's fine. Mike Smith. The hot dog bun is not two pieces of bread, just saying.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I've always been of that opinion. It's one piece.
Okay. I'm not doing this with you today. The stadium guy, James, hot dogs with a lot of peppers, the more the better. Stop.
No.
Stop it. Is this pick on fat ass day? Is that what this is?
Well,
with the hot
you
dog
didn't
thing?
have to make it personal.
Come on.
Eric
and Raleigh, hot dog is a taco in a bread bowl. Okay. Now it's a chili bowl. Nobody uses sour. It's a sandwich. It's bread with meat in the middle. It is what it is. Crunchy pepperonis and ranch is the best breakfast.
Stop, dude. What are we doing?
Oh God. Giggity, a long timer. He knows the hot dog sandwich argument. He knows he'll ask you how many holes in a straw. He'll ask you is cereal soup. He knows the game here. Ketchup on a hot dog is okay if your mom slices the dog into bit-sized pieces for you.
Giggity has been on a heater.
So this is what it's going to be. So this is how we're going to live our lives now.
Bite-sized pieces. What are you, 4?
Hey, Monty, you ate your pizza with a fork and a knife? So what? No, I do not, for the record. Hot dog is a pita sandwich.
No.
Stop. Brad Adams, hot dog sandwich with ketchup and relish is pretty good. It is. I'm telling you. I don't mind ketchup on a hot dog. But if I'm going to Superdog, it's mustard, relish, tomatoes. Like that's celery salt.
By the way,
packed and crinkle cut fries.
Where are we at with like button and all that?
Yeah,
stuff?
please do hit the like button. It helps the channel grow. 1,100 views and only 36 likes. Be better.
Come on.
Be better.
Hit the like button.
Hello to everybody on, and now we're at this point where X has become a thing. So hello to everybody watching on Twitter, Facebook, Spotify. Thank you to everybody who watches the show on Spotify. Really appreciate no matter where you guys are, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. Thanks for being here. Come to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, give us a like. Would love by my, what is it? I have a month until I'm 52 years old. Let's get to 140,000 subscribers. We're at 133, so we can do that. The eye patch, hot dog with jalapenos and 7-Eleven nacho sauce.
Stop.
On top
dude.
with a bag of Fritos.
No.
That is your thing.
No, it is not my thing.
It is. All right, couple more hot dogs. Then I do want to get back to Jerry. When you start getting angry or arguing about a hot dog, you might want to stop and reevaluate your life. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Yes. Stymie. Sammy Sosa has the same Michael Jackson skin disease. He's now whiter than Monty. Well, not any. He did bleach his skin, and the Hawaiian golfer. Oh boy, always an adventure with the Hawaiian golfer. What about the Blackhawks dynasty? Al Secord and Dennis Savard?
Yeah.
Jeremy Roenick and Tony Amonte? Murray Bannerman?
Amonte. What a stud.
Murray Bannerman? Come on. Taves and Kane? I hate seeing Taves in another uniform, but I hope he's... Chris Chelios and I had so many great conversations. One of the best things I ever did when I was a young radio guy working at, oh my God, WXLC 102.3 in good old Waukegan, Illinois. see there, I'm actually from Chicago.
Right.
Walking down the black and white checker tile into the Blackhawks locker room and sitting on the couches in the Blackhawk locker room with Chris Chelios and Tony Amonte and going to Chelly's Chili, like just Chris Chelios is a dude. He's a dude. Fan equals fanatic. Yes, it does. San Diego State Glenn. I've been here almost 4 years now and have never weighed in on is a hot dog or is it a hot dog or a sandwich combo? And I won't. Thank you. Thank you.
That's some serious self-control.
That is. Maury Alvarez. Deion Sanders thinks that hot dog is a taco.
Dude.
Stop. Man, it's hard to say if DM will be successful. Who's going to be the offensive coordinator? Well, that hasn't been a problem. I mean, Shermer's done a good job at Colorado. I mean, their offense was the least of their problems.
Yeah.
Offensive line, even with that offensive line.
Well, and I think that's one of the bigger questions is how many of those guys come with Deion. I mean, I have to think Shermer would come with Deion. I have to think Sapp certainly would come with Deion. If you know Warren Sapp's story, Deion, gave him a job when nobody would. So I would assume that Warren Sapp would come with, but that'll be the question. And, that's why I say, like, you got to get this done because there's a lot of stuff you got to wrinkle out before preseason gets here, before the preseason games start. I mean, you're talking about, I know that seems crazy, but if you really think about it, like we're approaching February. We've got about, 13 days left in this month or whatever it is.
Right.
And, the Super Bowl is obviously next month. And then after that, you're, 5 months away, 6 at most, but before your first game on the sideline. So I just think there's a lot of things you gotta wrinkle out there and get going.
Yeah, I think. Well, note he lost Phil Lodholt, who was a phenomenal offensive line coach. So Phil won't be going, but I have to think that Gary Harrell is his running back coach, who's Prime's assistant head coach. That's a lifelong relationship. Robert Livingston, the defensive coordinator, I have to think he goes. Pat Shermer, like all the guys on Deion's staff, he's got a great staff.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a good staff. He's got a great staff. So I think he will. And Donuts, good morning, my friend. Deion needs to protect his what? His what? No, he won't win. Jerry is an anchor around his team's neck. And I think this is the biggest thing. And this is what the point that I'll keep going back to. All the risk is on Deion Sanders.
Right.
Jerry Jones, yes, the Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, the dynasty years, he has not been Super Bowl relevant in over a decade. Like this cat is, I think that's the the biggest
thing. The first measure of success is, can Deion win the division every year? That's the first measure of success. That's where I would start if I were him. Got to win your division. That's where it starts.
I agree. The eye patch. No, Deion will not be successful and will not win a Super Bowl. Why? Jeremiah Champion. Good to see you, my guy. Let's go. Morning, everyone. Jeremiah, good to see you. Harry Austin, a member of the show for 17 months. Harry, good to see you, my guy. From a Cowboy perspective, does Coach Prime make sense? I think he does, and here's why. I think Deion Sanders is going to, just right out of the gate, sell merchandise. He is going to sell Deion jerseys, retro jerseys. He is going to sell, Mitchell and Ness will love this hire. Like, if you think about
the sunglasses, like
the blenders, if you just think about all of the money that Deion Sanders brings unrelated to football, merchandise, autographs, hats, posters, season tickets, all of the stuff that Deion, the brand Coach Prime, brings with him. The Amazon Prime show, Coach Prime. If you don't watch Coach Prime on Amazon, you're crazy. It's a really good show. It's compelling. It's behind the scenes. It's Hard Knocks, but not Hard Knocks. It's better than Hard Knocks. So I'm telling you, I think that on its own is why it's worth it, right? Yeah. Does it make sense? 2, he's won everywhere he's been now. He has taken Colorado football from nothing to a bowl game to damn near the college football playoff in year 2.
Right.
So he wins. He hires well. He recruits well. You don't hear about him off the field having domestic violence issues, DUI, none of that. Deion is good for your footballing. He is good for your business. He makes you money. He's not going to lose you money. He's not going to hurt your brand partners.
He's not going to lie about where he's from,
Thank you. Deion's good all the way around. The biggest question is, will Jerry let Deion win? And how will Deion Sanders compensate for that terrible cap situation? That's the question. Harry, good to see you this morning. Matt Ritson, big win for Oregon State over Gonzaga in overtime.
Yeah.
What is going to happen with the Mountain West in the Pac-12?
Gonzaga.
That's still one of the best fights we've ever had. Do you guys remember, and if you're new to the show, you might not, there was a Gonzaga alum.
I like Gonzaga.
Who came on this show and lost her mind.
I think we still have the clip in the archive. If you
do
want
we
to play
really?
It. Yeah, I think we might still have it. Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. She lost her mind. I didn't spend all that money and all those hours in the classroom for you to denigrate, Gonzaga by calling it Gonzaga, Monty.
Gonzaga.
I'm not the one who called it Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Oh, you long-timers will remember that. She absolutely lost her ever-loving mind. John Momola, Rock, what's up? There's nothing more Boston than a phony. Dan Katz is a phony.
100%, dude. 100%.
Again, Big Cat, Barstool Big Cat, has been outed as a guy who's not actually from Chicago, even though he's purported himself to be.
Yeah.
And he went on WMVP Chicago, ESPN 1000 in Chicago, and basically said, yeah, I did it because we wanted to succeed, essentially is what he said. He went on there, Big Cat, Barstool Big Cat, went on ESPN 1000 in Chicago and said, the guy who originally started the Barstool website for Chicago wasn't from there and got run out of Chicago because he wasn't from there. Well, no, he got run out of Chicago because his takes sucked and he didn't have any historical reference or idea, because guys from Chicago generally would know actual like Chicago sports. And
so you have no frame of reference here, Donnie.
Guys like John Momola, who's actually written about Chicago sports. And
yeah.
But notice, and I'm not trying to be a red ass here, no slight to ESPN 1000. He didn't do this on the Score. Right? He didn't do this. And having worked at the Score for a very short amount of time, there's no question in my mind. What do I listen to? I don't listen to MVP. I listen to the Score. I don't listen to ESPN 1000. I listen to the Score every day.
Right. Yeah.
For better or for worse, I like some of it. I listen. When I want Chicago sports, I go to the Score. You're hiding. And now you're going to have to explain this. And he said that this cat that originally started the blog for Barstool in Chicago got run out of Chicago. So he went to Dave Portnoy, Big Cat did, and said, hey, do you want me to say I'm not from here? And they said he claims that Dave said, no, just ignore it and do your job. That doesn't explain why you thought it was okay to put yourself off as a guy from Chicago when you weren't. You're from flipping Boston.
Yeah.
Which makes it even worse.
Mm-hmm.
If Prime gets the job with Jerry as still the owner GM, it will remind me of an album from an old trash band, Exodus. The title was Fabulous Disaster. Okay. I hear that. It's going to be that type of show today. Yeah, it is.
100%. Dude.
Yeah, it is. It's a Friday, and it's going to be that types of way.
It's Friday. College football playoff is until Monday.
As one of our old friends, Andy, used to say, it makes me feel a certain types of way.
It makes us feel a certain type. And, the other problem, too, is, it's 20 degrees out. It's 6 a.m. Some days you just have to enjoy it,
You do. And Donuts, Deion needs to protect his image. I don't know. Is Mike McCarthy worse off for having been the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys?
No.
I don't think he is. But again, and I'll show you the graphic again. Mike McCarthy, who I love and hate. If I would not hate him being the head coach of the Chicago Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, if we're going to put off Mike Tomlin as some legend, what is Mike McCarthy? The numbers don't lie. What is Mike McCarthy?
Not as good of a publicist.
I would agree with that, apparently. But that's my point.
Yeah.
Mike develops young quarterbacks, which we need in Chicago.
Yep.
And he goes to the playoffs. Does he win enough in the playoffs? Clearly not. He's a 500 coach in the playoffs.
Yeah, I just think that, look, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys couldn't be further from each other in terms of organizational behavior. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the epitome of consistency and, hey, we don't win a ton of Super Bowls, right? Obviously, the run you went through when it was, Big Ben and Troy Polamalu and all those guys, Ryan Clark, obviously, that was an iconic run for that organization. But the difference is that the Pittsburgh Steelers appreciate the sense of letting their head coach handle the business of footballing. So whether it was, all the issues with, Mendenhall or right now George Pickens or, any of the drama, the brass of the Steelers does not get involved in that. And for the Cowboys, obviously it's the complete opposite. Jerry Jones can't help himself. Jerry Jones wants to be the center of attention. And
yes.
I think that's the hard part is that Deion Sanders coming in would be the center of attention. He would be the guy.
I agree with that.
You would not imagine this. Deion Sanders is the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys when all the sunlight drama happened.
Yep.
That would have been handled completely differently.
I agree.
And that's the hard part.
I think Deion Sanders I think he's what you need in Dallas. And with all due respect to the Aaron Glenn's of the world, with all due respects to any other of the coaches that are going to go through the carousel this year.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders is a guy, in my opinion, they should hire in Dallas. With all due respect, they should hire in Dallas.
Yeah.
They need to hire in Dallas because he's going to get you, he's that bridge that will get you back to respectability if and when you ever decide to fix your cap.
Yeah.
And I do think, and maybe today's not the day, but at some point we're going to have a conversation about trading Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Because all of this talk about the 49ers trading Brock Purdy to Tennessee to get that number one pick. Well, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot of sense. If it weren't for $140 million in dead cap hit, makes a lot of sense to trade Dak Prescott. You need a reset button, and Deion Sanders can get you over that hump. All this stuff about, hey, does he have to have Shador? Does whatever. Deion's never said he has to have Shador.
Yeah, I don't think he has to have one particular guy. And I think that everybody likes to do this thing where it's like, oh, well, Shador's his kid and he has to have his kid. And there's got to be this whole dynamic.
equals Shador in
like,
Dallas.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, like Deion doesn't need that. And again, if you watch his show, you come to understand that Deion Sanders, the reason he's successful is, as you said a million times today, he's got a great staff. But then in addition to that great staff, Deion sets a really strong culture in the building. So you understand the expectations. And the reason I bring that up in terms of Shador and trading Dak is because if you trade Dak and you're able to get the number 1 pick or the number 2 pick, at that point, then you can say to yourself, okay, well, we've got great culture. We've got a great staff. Now we just need to go and find a great quarterback in the draft. And so to me, that's why I think there's credence in the Dak situation, but it doesn't make it any easier that it is a $140 million hit.
Yeah, and I think the Cowboys are a mess, and I still think Deion Sanders is what cures them. I really do. Hello to everybody watching on TikTok this morning. Hello to everybody on YouTube. No matter where you're watching the show, come over to YouTube, hit subscribe. Just Google search. Get on the old Google machine. Search The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show.
Google me.
Come to YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you're on TikTok, Twitter, if you're on Facebook this morning, please give us a thumbs up and a like. On TikTok, to everybody watching on TikTok, make sure you hit the screen, give us those taps. A couple more on this, because then I do want to get back to the Ohio State. Mike Smith, Mountain Mama. Hope you're well, Mike. Can we get Mike Mayock to come in and pick draft picks for us? He did such a great job with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Serious question, though. In the comments section, what's the best open job right now? Bears, Jets, Saints, Raiders. Is there an argument to be made that Dallas Cowboy job is the best open job? Is there an argument to be made that the Jacksonville? No, forgive me. It's never going to be Jacksonville. I think, and this is, I know this, we've kind of bandied about on this. I think the Jet job and the Bears job are the 2 best open jobs. I know everybody's going to say, Monty, the Jets. If you get that, if you are hired as a GM and the head coach of the Jets, you're going to have the opportunity to whack Aaron Rodgers, which I think you absolutely have to do.
And it wouldn't be uncouth to do that.
No,
it would be
not at all
accepted.
I think if you're a guy like Mike McCarthy, the Bears and the Jets, that's it. You're not going to take the Raider job. You cannot take the Jacksonville job.
Yeah.
The next job for a guy like Mike McCarthy, he's got to go to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. He cannot afford to languish at the bottom of the NFC North.
Yeah.
If he takes the job with the Jets, Woody Johnson, I think, is all in and prepared to do everything he has to do to win.
Yeah, well, and I think if you look at the divisions, the interesting part about these 2 jobs is obviously, the Jets are, in a division with, a really competitive, dynamic team in the Bills. And I look at this and I say, hey, like, if you take the Bears job, that the coordinators in Detroit are probably leaving. So that team is going to change a little bit. That great teams in the NFL typically are only great for a couple seasons at a time in the modern day. And, so if I'm Mike McCarthy, let's say, I think I would value the Bears job over the Jets job. I think, again, I'm a big Cliff Kingsbury guy. If I'm Cliff Kingsbury, I think I would value the Bears situation and the division moving forward over the Jets job. But again, all of this is to say, one thing that I think nobody's asking is, okay, well, there's all this smoke with Deion Dallas. Who are the other candidates? Who is the dark horse candidate for
Kellen Moore,
the Dallas job?
Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a guy that everybody, crowned when he was the offensive coordinator there as the heir apparent. How
Nobody
did that
thinks
work
he's
out?
going to come in and win Super Bowls, though. I mean, come on.
But the problem is they're not going to be – the Dallas Cowboys are not going to be competitive.
Yeah.
It's going to take probably 2 years unless something crazy happens, or if you bring in Deion Sanders, again, he's going to sell more hot dog sandwiches.
Yeah.
He's going to sell jerseys. He's going to sell tickets. So
yeah,
I wouldn't. Tanner Plummer. James, many people have been saying that too. Last I checked, Kellen Moore is their favorite to be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, no, he's not. Deion Sanders is minus 100. Deion Sanders, according to DraftKings, Is plus 100, excuse me. Bobby Saleh is number 2 at plus 150, followed by Kellen Moore at plus 250. So
yeah, I don't even think Kellen Moore, like, there's definitely, obviously Kellen Moore is interviewing and is in the conversation, but
yes.
but I don't know that if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm like, man, I'm really excited about Kellen Moore. Like,
Boyd Lake, what are the chances the Cowboys go with Spider 2Y Banana?
well,
Does John Gruden ever coach in the NFL again? I can't say definitively not anymore.
Yeah, I think he will.
I think it's more than you might think. But let's see. Mash 88. No Cowboy fan wants more. Get out of here, Deion. I don't think any Cowboy fan thinks Kellen Moore is exciting. I truly do not. Mike Smith, just think Rex was the last head coach that made a difference with the Jets.
Wild.
Well, okay. That's an interesting take, and I think you might be right. I still want Rex Ryan as the Jets again. No, you don't. And Donuts, these days, coaches are hired to be fired. Aren't they always?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't they always? Salty Virginia Peanuts. Stymie Snurdly, how has it been going for the last hour? Okay.
What does that even mean?
I have no idea. He's a red ass about Notre Dame because I won't say that Notre Dame's going to win the championship. Again, somebody call me crazy. Somebody call me crazy. Tell me that I'm wrong about Notre Dame. I'm happy to do it. Hour number 2 of the Monty Show is always presented by our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. Let's get into the national championship of college football after this from The Advocates.
When you've been injured in an accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Insurance companies don't always play fair, but we can keep them in check. Most cases settle out of court, but we'll take your case to trial if necessary. You deserve an advocate.
There you go. The Advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys where you get clear, risk-free advice. You get in an accident, you get hurt at work, you have a slip and fall. It's one of the worst days of your life. You need somebody who will handle the claims process for you. Because as we're learning the hard way in this country, through hurricanes and wildfires, car accidents, your insurance company is not on your side. They're not going to pay you. And if they do, it's going to be not a penny more than they have to. Let the Advocates fight for you because they'll get you every penny you deserve at theadvocates.com, or you can chat with an injury attorney live online, and it won't cost you a dime. Let's go. Ohio State, Notre Dame, +8 for Notre Dame. And I have asked, I have tried, I have begged repeatedly. Can you find me a way that Notre Dame can win this game?
Notre Dame, our mother.
And the answer is no. I have not found a guy that can tell me that Riley Leonard is capable of throwing this team to a win. And when we talk about the national championship, that's what it's going to take. Riley Leonard is going to be put in a position by this Ohio State defense where he has to throw this team to a win. And it's going to take more than a slot fade to get that done. And when you look at where Notre Dame has won in the passing game, it is undoubtedly the slot fade. It is what Riley Leonard is most capable of doing. He loves that route. They love that route. And they have gotten multiple big plays in every game out of the slot fade. When you look at the big passes, when you look at the long touchdowns, slot fade. But that's not going to happen. Or I think the slot fade will not be available to you because of the depth and quality of the corners at Ohio State. And again, I would remind you, nobody blitzes less. Blitzes as little as Ohio State does. They're one of the teams in FBS that blitzes the least. And I will continue to tell you, Riley Leonard's numbers when he is not blitzed are horrendous. They are not good. Riley Leonard's numbers, as I have been telling you for how long, and I guess I don't have that graphic anymore.
Right up, like 5 up. Keep going.
Right
there.
When I look at, here it is right here. When he's not blitzed, Riley Leonard's rating is 63.7. That's 115th in FBS. When he is kept clean, his rating is 86.3. Under pressure, his rating is 36.2, which is 125th in FBS. What does this graphic right here mean to you? This is going to be a very good night for the Ohio State front four because they rarely send more than 4, and they almost always get home. And when you have the struggles on the right side of Ohio State's right side of the line, Notre Dame's left side of the offensive line is not good. They are weak. They are injured. I am telling you, Ohio State is going to feast with 4-man coming for the quarterback. It's going to be up to Riley Leonard to throw Notre Dame to a win. And Jake, I just don't see how that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think that this is a difficult scheme for Ohio State to put together to stop Riley Leonard. And that's what I feel like people aren't putting enough emphasis on heading into this game. You know, Notre Dame fans will tell you, hey, well, Riley's great. He's been a main reason we're winning. He's done this, he's done that. But the hard part is that I don't see Riley Leonard running all over the place in this game, right? Like, I don't see him breaking Ohio State off for, 25-yard runs on a regular basis. And I also don't see him, obviously being able to take a ton of deep shots. So my question is going to be, can Notre Dame establish the run with Jeremiah Love against that Ohio State defense? Because if they can establish the run, then that obviously opens some things up. But I'm just not confident that, Ohio State is going to allow them to simply run down the field. I think instead what's going to happen is Ohio State is going to come out and do what they always do, which is they're going to play man coverage across the board. They're going to load the box up, and they're going to make it really difficult for Notre Dame to run with efficiency, to run for 4 or 5 yards a carry. So if Notre Dame's only running for 1.5 to 3 yards a carry, that's going to put you behind the sticks. That's going to put Riley Leonard in obvious passing situations. And all of a sudden, everyone's All-American great house is no longer some great wide receiver because Ohio State knows what's coming. And that's the dynamic that Notre Dame is going to have to overcome in this game. Now, I do agree with the people that say, hey, special teams is an opportunity for Notre Dame. I completely agree. I think they're going to have to be lights out on special teams. And in fact, I'd go as far as to say they're going to have to create extra possessions through special teams. That's 100% true. And I think the defense is somehow, some way going to have to find a pick six or a fumble deep in Ohio State territory, something that puts Riley Leonard on the 30-yard line of Ohio State territory, so they can go out and try and put points on the board. But if you're just going to play a standard, hey, we're going to kick off and start at the 25 type game, Notre Dame's going to lose this game by 2-3 possessions, without a doubt. But if Notre Dame can create chaos defensively and through special teams, that's where I think Ohio State will find themselves in a difficult spot in this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how all this plays out and what you're able to do. And it is really scary when you look at how poorly the left side of Notre Dame's offensive line has performed. In DB on TikTok, the left tackle was the best tackle coming out of high school. In addition, he came in against Penn State and handled Abdul Carter. Nobody handled Abdul Carter against Penn State, because Penn State and Abdul Carter feasted. And when I look at Tosh Baker and, I more look at the guard situation. You're probably going to have to play 6-7 offensive linemen because you're going to have to find a combination that works, because you don't have 5 guys you can believe in.
Yeah.
And so I struggle with this idea. If Ohio State's getting home with 4 guys, this game is not going to be close.
Mm-hmm.
It just is not. Riley Leonard's not that quarterback. And I think the great house slot fade, yes, that's where the big plays have happened. But if I know that and you know that, are you telling me Ohio State's defense doesn't know that? And that's a defense that's got multiple guys in the secondary, and they can play man over. You're not going to have multiple DBs falling down like you did against Penn State.
Yeah.
To me, that's just not going to happen. I think it is. I just think you're asking guys like, and pick your poison on this offensive line. Emil Wagner, he got his ass beat against Abdul Carter. There's just not. Abdul Carter is an elite pass rusher. One of the best in the draft.
Yeah.
With a bad shoulder, he dominated. So that's my biggest concern. This game's going to be won and lost in pass pro for Notre Dame. If Ohio State's getting home with 4 dudes, you're done. Jack Sawyer showed you he's a playmaker. And again, I just go back to this belief of mine that guys like Jack Sawyer, he made a play. It's not even that Quinn Ewers didn't make a play or threw an interception. Jack Sawyer beat your right tackle and then beat your quarterback. And not only that, recovered the fumble and outran your offense down the field.
Yeah.
That's because he's more talented than you. That's because Ohio State's deeper than you. And Texas is a better, in my opinion, football team and deeper football team than the beloved. So if Texas is better than Notre Dame, what's Ohio State going to do to Notre Dame? That's what I'm really concerned about.
Yeah.
And I just keep going back to this mentality that Ohio State brings to the yard. Listen to Will Howard. Listen to Will Howard talking about if this season has this season been a success for Ohio State.
It's surreal, I think, is what you're trying to say. Like, yeah, I do have to kind of pinch myself at times and be like, man, yeah, I'm in the national championship, but at the same time, it is where we expected to be, man. And we got ready for this season saying that, if we were going to come out of it saying it was a success, we were going to have to play 16, 17 games, and here we are, man. And so I'm just proud of our guys that we got to this point, but like I said last week, man, the job's not finished, and it's not finished until we win.
Some people get a sense of success.
Job's not done.
Yeah.
How very Kobe Bryant of you.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they have the right mentality. I think that this team, you go back to the Michigan loss that everyone wants to reference. You go back to all the things that this team has been through, and ultimately, they're just in a position where I just feel like the competition they played leading up to this game is better than anything Notre Dame has to offer. And I understand if that pisses off Notre Dame fans. I get it. I understand. But I just don't understand how you make a case against that. I think Texas is a better team. I think Oregon's a better team. I think that,
and the other guy that we haven't talked about, Howard Cross has to be healthy for this defense to thrive. And we were watching him in that game limp off the field repeatedly.
Yeah.
So I'm a little concerned about that. But if you have Oben, Cross, you look at the linebacker core at Notre Dame, they're as good as anybody. You look at, I think everybody knows what Jack Kaiser is. Everybody knows the stud that he is. But how many people understand how good Jalen Snead is? How many people understand Bowen or Christian Gray, who made one of the most important interceptions of the season on a terrible throw by Drew Aller? What an interception that is. Schuler, Moore, we can go on and on about this defense, and they're still not as good as Ohio State's defense. And in the comment section, let's go. Give me the matchup. Give me the matchup where you feel like Notre Dame is better than Ohio State. Give me the matchup. Because I don't know that you can. Boyd Lake, recover the funnel. Monty has digital marketing and SEO on his mind. Exactly right. Chrissy, Notre Dame have adjusted to every team they played from Georgia to Penn State. They really have, and it's why I've talked about the growth of Marcus Freeman, the head coach at Notre Dame, who I think has really done a nice job adjusting. I thought the halftime adjustments we made against Penn State were fantastic. And I think the way that you came out and you changed, I think one of the biggest differences first half to second half, the cadence that Riley Leonard was using were different in the second half. I thought the coverage schemes because Notre Dame, you knew Penn State was going to have to come out and throw the football a little more.
Yeah.
The coverage schemes, and you did not compromise your run defense, even though Singleton dominated you. You were very good in red zone. I felt like Marcus made really good adjustments at halftime there. And he and his staff made really good adjustments. I just don't think that Notre Dame's seen the depth and the quality that Ohio State brings to bear.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Lawrence Hatcher. Why is Ohio State being hated on so much for being favored in this game and maybe a blowout? I watched college football championship games where Alabama was favored and nobody cared. I think Ohio State is one of the great villains of college sports.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
And Ryan Day is one of the most, polarizing figures.
Yeah, he's a very maligned coach. I don't think people love Ryan Day. I truly do not. It's just a matter of understanding that Ohio State's been not exceptional. Ohio State under Ryan Day's been very good, but not good enough for a decade. This cat wins games. He doesn't win national championships. Will that change on Monday night? My guess is it does. I think it does. Brad Adams, where the heck was Xavier Worthy on that strip sack by Sawyer? Exactly. Well, he's playing for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Stymie, Texas, who lost twice to Georgia, is a better team. They are. And Notre Dame fan, you got to get your head around this.
Yeah.
Was the team that beat Texas, the Georgia team that beat Texas, was it the same team that lost to Notre Dame? Who most notably, the quarterback was not the same. The defensive front was not the same. I mean, you also have to understand that teams don't play at the same level every game.
Yeah.
I think nobody's a better example of that than Ohio State, who played so far down to Michigan and has been unbeatable against Ohio. Everybody else, Ohio State's been unbeatable. And those are good wins. Listen, beating Penn State and Georgia and Indiana, those are good wins. None of them. You really believe that the Georgia team that Notre Dame beat is on par with this Ohio State team? By this comment, I'm thinking that's what you mean. And if you don't understand the battle of attrition that dynasty teams like Georgia go through at the end of their arc, look at Alabama. If you don't understand how difficult it is to stay healthy and stay energetic and stay at the top of your performance level year after year after year, if this is your fourth year at Georgia, if this is even your third run, do you know how many extra practices, just practices, Georgia seniors have had compared to Notre Dame? Do you understand what the BCS, now into the college football playoff, what December practices, into spring practices, into fall practices, into December practices? They never miss bowl games. They're constantly making runs to the playoff. The battle to stay energetic and stay on top of your game is darn near impossible. And so if you believe that the Georgia teams that beat Texas, and that's the same team that Notre Dame beat, I don't know how to, I can't argue, I can't fix that level of lack of understanding.
Yeah.
Because they're just not the same team. They're not.
And I think we see that all across college football, by the way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Lawrence, Notre Dame has not played nobody, period. Well, I wouldn't say nobody. You can only play who's in front of you, ask Penn State. But much like Penn State, and this is my biggest concern for Notre Dame, I don't believe that we've played anybody on par with Ohio State. Not anybody close to that. This is, and I was looking at it last night, like if you look at roster talent and depth, my opinion is that Penn State and Indiana combined are not offensively capable to the level that Ohio State is. They're not. You look at Indiana, they don't have the receivers or the quarterback. You look at Penn State, they don't have the receivers or the quarterback. You'd have a hell of a running attack.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at the how stout Notre Dame's defense is and how well we tackle. And then you go and look at Travion Henderson. The big play that Travion made against Texas, was that in the run game? What was that? That was a leak out pass to the flat that he hit the gas on. He's done it in the run game. He's done it in the passing game. And then you have Quinshon Judkins, who is a power back, but has shown you You cannot tackle him at the first level. You're rarely going to bring down Judkins one-on-one, and you're rarely going to do that at the first level. Okay, well, Notre Dame tends to swarm to the run game. I agree. I think Notre Dame, their linebackers versus Ohio State's run game, it's a really good matchup. But if past performance is the best predictor of the future outcome, how did Notre Dame do against Penn State's running attack? Not well. Certainly not in the red zone. Not with 3 touchdowns from one back.
Yeah.
So you understand when you start seeing bigger offensive lines and you start seeing powerful backs, 1-2 punches, you understand that it's a much more difficult task that you did not see against Indiana. You certainly did not see that against Indiana, right? You certainly did not see that against Georgia. Georgia wasn't a multi-back front and couldn't throw the football, could not throw the football down the field. Struggled to do that, even though I thought Gunnar Stockton had nice moments.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? You just have not seen a team with the balance, the depth, the capabilities, the artillery that Ohio State brings. Texas shut down your best wide receiver, and you still won that game. And why is that? Because your best player on offense, arguably, got shut down, so one of your best players on defense made a huge play. And your quarterback continued to make plays, even though Will Howard made mistakes in that game. So, I mean, we can sit here and fantasize about it. We can strengthen our forearms to what could be, but that's not how you win games. That's, in my opinion. Big John, the health of Notre Dame right now is a big problem. It is, especially up front. What does Notre Dame have on its side? God wants Notre Dame to win. Well,
I mean,
Yeah. Boyd Lake, hit the like button. Get these guys to 140K. Yes, please. Over 2,000 views and only 68 likes on YouTube. Let's go. Hit the like button. Brandon Butler, the problem is you can't wait to make adjustments if Notre Dame, if you are Notre Dame in game, you will be down 3 scores if you do that.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And again, I just go back to what I said the other day. You haven't seen an explosive offense yet in the playoff. Indiana, Georgia, and Penn State. Are any of those offenses explosive? The only thing that Ohio State's offense is explosive.
Yeah, and they've shown that repeatedly.
Right? So you haven't seen this stylistically. Now, you also have had a week and change to get ready for this game. So Marcus Freeman defenses very well. We'll see. The Hawaiian golfer. In the matchup of acronyms, Notre Dame takes the win with their low score of 2 letters as opposed to OSU's 3 letters.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
The Irish pass rush and run defense will have 7-8 dudes, and Al Golden's pass rush and run stop schemes. Okay, let's vet that out. Notre Dame's going to bring, let's say 7 guys, because if you bring 8, you're going to get blown up down the field. So how long should you expect Graham, and really, if you're bringing 7 guys, Watts or Schuler's at the line of scrimmage, and I would guess you're going to lean on, and it depends on who's at the other corner, because Leonard Moore, the question is, you are at that point, are you going to be in man coverage against Ohio State?
You don't want that.
Because if you're not bringing 8 guys. If you bring 8 guys, dude.
The mission has to be to get Ohio State behind the sticks so they're in more obvious pass calling situations.
And if you go 4 wide receiver combinations, so Smith, Tate, Egbuka, and then let's say you bring in, pick your other guy, right? Let's say that you bring in a 4th receiver. You cannot possibly bring 8 guys. So that goes out the window. And if you start looking at the way that, Carnell Tate, for instance, who I think is a vastly underrated wide receiver. You look at the route combinations they use Tate and Egbuka in to create space for Jeremiah Smith. That's when you start getting in the weeds because Schuler can't come down.
Right.
Because their double moves and their route combinations make it very difficult to corner blitz. Because Will Howard has the ability to get rid of the football, which Riley Leonard does not. Will Howard gets rid of the football very quickly. And that quick throw to the boundary or that quick in route on a corner blitz, all three of those guys have the speed to take it to the house. And if you've got 8 guys down or 7 guys down, now you're probably counting on Schuler to win a track meet, and I don't want to do that against Ohio State wide receivers. So if you flesh out, well, we're going to bring 7, 8 guys, Marty. Okay. You got to remember, you have an elite play caller in Chip Kelly. Everything he wasn't as a head coach, that dude's a great play caller.
He's waiting for you to bring 8. He is waiting for you to bring 8.
I would agree with that. And that's what really worries you. So
again,
I'm not saying this is a bad idea. But before you say bring 7, and you're never bringing 8 against this offense, but before you say bring 7, so you're saying bring Watts closer to the line of scrimmage. Are you saying don't have one of your linebackers cover the middle of the field to take that space away? I think that's going to be very difficult. 7, you're going to do that. You're never going to bring 8, but that's just me. I don't know. Lawrence Hatcher, it won't be man only. There will be 1 or 2 safeties over the top, but Notre Dame has 6 such packages. So, okay, flesh this out. If you're playing man over, okay, and Ohio State's in 3 wide receiver sets most of the game. Okay, so you're probably in nickel, 5 DBs, right? So we're going to have 3 corners and 2 safeties. Okay, so let's say you bring 4 up front, right? So where are the other 2 guys? Because if we're playing man over, we're certainly going to have a linebacker. If you're going to play man over, you can't flush your linebackers down the line of scrimmage. So what's the obvious inference here?
Mm-hmm.
That's 5 guys coming to the quarterback. You got 3 in coverage, and you've got, let's say you're just playing quarters with your safeties, right? So Schuler's on the offensive left side of the field, right? But you're going to have to figure out what is the best way to use Jack Kaiser, because he's going to be the guy on defense that you are going to have to use. And the bigger problem here is, how do you, as Notre Dame's defense, not turn your back and run when you have 3 wide receivers and a tight end on the field? Well, here's the problem with that. That's where Travion Henderson made his big play and has routinely made his big play, and Will Howard is mobile. So you're going to have real discipline from Jack Kaiser. He's going to have to play as well as he has ever played. A virtuoso performance if they're going to win this game. And I think you're asking too much. I think he is the tipping point in this game. I do. And that's why I said, you guys, do you think I'm just doing this off the top of my head? I have fleshed this out. I have looked at this matchup for Notre Dame and Ohio State.
Yeah.
I can't find a matchup, especially looking at Ohio State's offense with 3 wide receivers and a tight end. Travion Henderson is an absolute lethal weapon in those sets and formations. It's really difficult. And I go back and I look at the Ohio State game, and I look at the spread with Will Howard. Carnell Tate had 7 catches for 87 yards. Agbuka had 5 for 51. G. Scott had 5 for 30. So now we're talking about, okay, well, what does their depth really look like? If G. Scott's going to have 5 catches in this game, you're screwed. Because again, I would assume you're gonna roll to take Jeremiah Smith away. You're gonna really press to his side. But if you give up inside leverage just once, you're going to give up a big play. You have absolutely got to have press leverage to force them to the boundary.
Yeah.
Because I do think you're going to see a lot of man over. 5 guys to the quarterback, man over on top.
Yeah, I mean, certainly you're going to do what you're going to try to attempt to replicate what Texas did.
You have got yes, and I think you have got to push. You have got to push their wide receivers to the boundary. You can't have them in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you, man, you look at the numbers in the Texas game, which Ohio State, I would also point out, scored in both the second and the fourth quarter because they close well. So you're going to have to close well. You look at the rushing numbers. They only ran for 81 yards against Texas, and they still doubled up Texas, 28-14. So stylistically, and I want to go back one more week to the Oregon game, which Ohio State won 41-21. They ran for 181 yards and threw for 319. Balance, right? Okay. Let's go back. Let's go back even further to the Tennessee win. Because Tennessee's a real defense. Stout defense. Will Howard, 311 yards, and they ran for 156 yards. And a lot of that was Travion Henderson pounding Tennessee's front seven, opening up the secondary, where Jeremiah Smith had that crazy game, 6 for 103. They can pound you. They can throw it. They can not run it. They can throw it. They can not throw it. They can run it. The bottom line is you have a quarterback that's red hot. So if you're going to play 7 at the line of scrimmage to stop the run, he's as hot as any quarterback in the country. So I'm asking you again, how do you stylistically see Notre Dame winning this game? And I don't. Notre Dame and Ohio State have comparable defenses, comparable running games, but the quarterback wide receiver passing game of Ohio State is better. Texas has better QB wide receiver passing game and still lost. Golden was hurt in that game. Remember, Golden was out for a significant part of that game.
Yeah, again, I'm still waiting for someone to be able to come up with a scheme or some kind of point that points to Notre Dame winning this game.
Yeah.
And I just don't think there is one.
Peanuts says I'm taking it personally. I'm actually not taking it personally. I'm asking you or any Notre Dame fan, give me the scenario. Give me the matchup. Give me the formation. 7, 8 guys to the line of scrimmage. Does not work against Ohio State.
So here's the deal, though, with this comment. So if you're going to say that he's taking it personally, then you can't get all up in arms when we take your argument and break it down into little bits and pieces and tell you why that's not going to happen. Because that's what happens in the comment section.
Yeah.
People want to comment and they want to say, oh, well, they're going to send 7, 8 guys all day. They're going to send 7, 8 guys enough to disrupt the passing game, to cause chaos. Well, if you take a look at it, so I have to say, man, I don't think he's taking it personally.
It's not personal to me.
Yeah, I just think that you're trying to make a point off of emotion, and we're making a point off X's and O's. So it's not personal.
David Persons, Monty, you are wrong about the Notre Dame. Notre Dame 24-21. Man, I hope you're right. Because again, I'll say, if Notre Dame wins, I will be right here live after the game crying for you. Because that would be unbelievable. Jake, quite the contrary. I'm interested in hearing what you're saying. That's why I'm answering your questions. But your argument doesn't hold up, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm giving you factual breakdown and analysis because I've watched the tape. I've seen Ohio State. I've watched every snap of Notre Dame football multiple times. I'm an idiot. I love Notre Dame. I watched their games. I watched it. I'm telling you.
The only way, in my opinion, Notre Dame wins this game is if Will Howard makes crucial mistakes. That's how they will win the game.
Oh, you'll need, what's the garden variety drive killer? False start. You'll need stupid penalties.
No, you're going to need undisciplined play from Ohio State, but I really do think you're going to need the Jack Sawyer kind of play.
You're going to need Will Howard to throw a pick six. You're
Yeah,
going to need Will Howard. You're going to, and it's what I said earlier in the week.
Yeah.
You're going to need that. Remember the Penn State regular season game with Ohio State at the shoe? Will Howard turned and threw that ball left. Penn State picked it and took it home.
Yeah.
You're going to need that for Notre Dame. You're going to need that.
And I would be, and again, I'm happy to commit to being live if Notre Dame wins this game. I will sit there and be shocked if Will Howard throws one of those egregious pick sixes in this game. I will be really surprised by that.
Lopes fan Gabe might want to enunciate that deal though phrase J2H. Put a little peanut eggplant.
I don't get it.
Mike Smith. For Notre Dame to win, they will need a big play on special teams. Amen to that.
Agreed.
And we've done that. Huge kick return in the playoff.
Do we get the trickery from the Georgia game?
A defensive score and some lucky breaks. You're going to need holding. You're going to need, I think, holding and false starts. You're going to need that. And one, I think you're going to need to win the coin toss and then keep Ohio State from scoring on that first drive, because that's, and then you come out, and I think Marcus Freeman and his staff have done a great job at halftime. That was a different team against Penn State in the second half.
Yeah.
So, Big John, Chip Kelly is going to fix what didn't work against Texas. Well, one of the things that I saw, and I want to say the fan in Columbus is who pointed me to this. I never noticed that Jeremiah Smith wasn't moving. Early in the season, Jeremiah Smith was not moving towards Will Howard on those screen throws. And so the interception really was that everybody was standing still. And now you're seeing on those quick outs, keep an eye, and let's see if they do it again, but keep an eye on the target moving towards the football. Because it's a really small nuancical point that I think is the difference between touchdown and 3-yard gain.
It is. Yeah. If you're already moving, if you're running when the football hits you, you're in a much better spot.
And that pre-snap motion that Ohio State uses so well, every great offense uses pre-snap motion and shifting to uncover what the defense is actually doing. Ohio State's very good at it. Very, very good at it. So, it may not hold. It may not hold up. That's fair. That's why I'm here to listen to what I have to say. I've never said you're wrong, but you're saying I'm taking it personally, which I'm not. No, there isn't a scenario where Notre Dame matches up with Ohio State. The Buckeyes are equal or better in all phases, but sometimes they're just the unknown that can.
Okay,
yeah,
now this
I agree
I'm
with.
down with.
I agree with that.
So the point.
It's why you play the game.
Well, it's why they play the game. It's why we watch the game.
It's why Michigan showed up against Ohio State.
Right. Yeah. Like the factor of, hey, it's the biggest college football game of the year. Who's going to be ready for the moment and who's not? And what mistakes are made because of that? That is what we are all here for.
Yep. Charisse, good morning to you. Monty, the question, will Notre Dame's offense be able to run the ball on this really stout Ohio State defense? I'm telling you, up front, it's going to be very difficult because I think Tuamalo, Styles, I mean, you look at from the ends to the linebackers, they're really, really strong.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at Denzel Burke, I think when you look at even Caleb Downs against the run, the discipline, one of the things that is a hallmark of Notre Dame's defense and Ohio State's defense is the discipline of the safeties. The control and the understanding mentally of what your responsibility is on every snap. Caleb Downs and Schuler, I think, are very equal players. And they both do one thing really well: diagnose play action passing. And a lot of it for Notre Dame is the linebackers are the key for the safeties. For Notre Dame against play action, you'll notice a lot that Schuler's head is not on the quarterback, it's on the linebackers. And they really use that innate communication to keep that defense disciplined. And I think that's going to be critical here, because if you get another Travion Henderson play, it will be a backbreaker. It will be, because this Notre Dame offense, you don't come from behind against a defense of this caliber.
No.
Not this Notre Dame offense.
Yeah, I think at the half, it has to be a one possession game for Notre Dame to have a chance. And I think to this point, I would not if I'm Notre Dame, I'm not running between the tackles. I am pitching, I am tossing, I am getting out on the edge. I am trying to get to a place where it's Jeremiah Love versus one linebacker on the edge. So I want to exploit that athleticism. I want to play in a space where, if it's our guy versus your guy in the open field and we need 3 yards, I don't want to be running between the tackles. I want to be finding some rhythm and momentum by running outside. And I think that the thing that I was a little disappointed with in the Penn State game was the absolute atrocious wide receiver blocking early in that game by Notre Dame. I was surprised that they just weren't executing. So we talk about like, hey, where can Notre Dame kind of get some strides and get some momentum going offensively? That is what I would look to. I would look to running it outside with an emphasis, to your point, not to commit holding penalties in the blocking game, but to block effectively to allow Jeremiah Love to have that opportunity. You got to have that.
I agree. And I think, I just look at the defensive ends for Ohio State. And obviously Jack Sawyer has made plays, but JTT is, his numbers are ridiculous. Tuimolo, wow. JTT, thank you. Between Hamilton and Williams, and then you look at the linebacker. I think Sonny Styles is one of the most underrated juniors in the country.
Yeah.
He is. I just feel like this defense at Ohio State is very, very good.
Yeah.
And I think it's just going to be a matter of who plays better. And I would agree with everybody saying, hey, you still got to show up.
Oh, completely. And again, listen, we're getting into pre-game analysis here. We're looking at the options. And again, it's not to say that Notre Dame doesn't have a shot. That's not the conversation. The conversation is, okay, well, when you really look at it and dive into it, like where are the areas for Notre Dame's offense that they can get some traction? Because again, this is the point you always make, and everyone always says, "Oh, well, Monty, you're so negative. You hate Notre Dame. You why are you so negative?" But you can't get away from the point of, hey, having a quarterback that is not a great passer is a handicap. It's a handicap. It's something you got to account for. So I don't think that this conversation we're having in the comments section about like him taking it personally or him being too negative or whatever. We're just looking at it and saying, hey, yeah, Riley Leonard's not a great passer. He's certainly not the passer Will Howard is. Like, come on.
Notre Dame has to play a Hoosier-like game. Is the picket fence available? Call the play, hit the shot.
Like, come on.
Give me the ball, coach. I'll make it. Delaric, every offense uses motion, but the one AA run is a part of because he doesn't like it. I don't know what you mean by that.
It's an Aaron Rodgers reference to Aaron Rodgers not liking pre-snap motion.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. YouTube user Salty Peanuts. Do you mean Tui Halamaka? What about Tui Halamaka?
Yeah, what do you mean?
What do you mean by that? Mike Smith, I need a nap. Okay. UW fan Jim, Notre Dame has the power of prayer.
That's correct. Do. Yes, that is indeed correct.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
Jesus does not like Notre Dame because they're too greedy. I've heard that.
Well, they're not Ohio State paying for a championship.
Love the sin or hate the sin, right?
Right.
Kenneth, Monty, don't forget Ohio State has been a second half team all year. Well, up until the playoffs, yeah. They've been a very good halftime adjustment team as well. Ryan Day is the Antichrist. Okay.
That seems a little serious.
You want wide receivers to block, you need to pass more. Well, but again, I look at Notre Dame's wide receivers, and I think it is a position of weakness in our offense. I mean, Jordan Faison, he's only a sophomore. I think he will improve. Jaden Greathouse is a guy that and I know this pisses people off when I say this too in the Notre Dame community, he's a one-trick wide receiver. And the slot fade is a very good route for Notre Dame, but that's the route he runs. That's it. That's where his big plays have come from. And I think I just want to see more. And Mitchell Evans is going to have a massive game for Notre Dame to win. He's going to have a massive game. Brandon Butler, Chicago sports fans keep expectations low, so we are pleasantly surprised when things go well. This is very true. This is very true. You guys don't sound like you guys like you're taking it personally now. I have no idea what you're talking about. You're trolling, is what I think. I need Ryan Day to lay off the just for men. Dude must have stock. It's an awfully black beard, sir. Charisse. Yeah, Will Howard is definitely a better passing quarterback than Riley Leonard. Charisse, you're a better passing quarterback than Riley Leonard.
Yeah.
Stop it, Marty. Okay. Final one on this. Bradley Dunkel. Notre Dame will have to create a couple of turnovers to win. Yes. Stymie. The beautiful thing about college ball is that you don't need an NFL starting caliber quarterback to win.
Yeah, against Ohio State, you do.
So, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. But stylistically and style matters in head-to-head matchups. If Notre Dame trails by 2 scores, they're going to have a real tough time coming back. Jake's looking at a guy on TV, Angel Jimenez or whatever his name is.
We saw a guy that looked just like
Miguel
this dude.
Angel Jimenez.
Yeah.
The professional golfer. We saw him at Las Vegas National last week.
Do you think that was him?
If it wasn't, he's got a doppelganger. He's got a doppelganger. All right, let's switch gears on the Monty Show and get to the National Football League. Go Texans. I hate the Chiefs. I hate everything about the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes' creepy sexual assaulting brother. I hate everything about the Chiefs. The fact that the officials, the officiating crew in this game that they've put together has one combined Chiefs loss in it ever, and the head official is 6-0. When he officiates Chiefs games, they're 6-0.
Stay hard.
The entire crew, the entire officiating crew, in all the Chiefs games they've called, the Chiefs have lost once. Oh, we need Swifties, bro. It's a dynasty.
Well, Monty.
No Monties. Let's go Texans. Let's go Texans. I don't like Taylor Swift. I don't like Travis Kelce, fat ass. Did you guys see those pictures that came out about Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
Rocking a beer gut?
Yeah. Tubby.
Comfortable, are we, Chubbs?
Yeah.
I would love to see the Chiefs lose this game. They're not going to lose it at Geha Field.
Geha Field?
Geha. Geha.
Bro.
What? It's an insurance company. What do you want from me?
It's not pronounced Geha, dude.
Could be. How do you know?
No redos.
How do you know? How do you know?
Bro.
How do you know?
Wow.
Prove it.
Yeah.
You can't, can you?
Yeah. All right.
8-point Kansas City line.
Yeah.
3:30 ESPN on Saturday. That's tomorrow. Thank God. I am ready to be asleep at this time tomorrow. Anyway, the Texans win this game. Jake Mortimer.
No, I think, this is the Texans are going to put up a good fight. I think they certainly cover the 8 points. I think that the situation that's going to be interesting is, like, if you watch that Texans Chargers game, you begin to understand that the Chargers made a lot of mistakes in that game. The Chargers just, they didn't look great. And I think if you're the Texans, you're going to Kansas City, it's going to be cold. It's a completely different environment, outdoor game versus indoor. I just don't think the Texans have a great shot to win this game, but I think the Texans do have a great shot of keeping it competitive. The Chiefs have definitely, without a doubt, gotten some help from the officials this year. If you get what?
They've gotten help from
Here we go.
Do you mean where they don't ever call false starts against Juwan Taylor?
Bro.
Is that what
Here we
or
go.
offside or neutral zone or Patrick Mahomes being a complete douchebag, which is a penalty every single day? You mean those help from the officials?
So I said, yeah.
What?
Wow.
I can't believe that.
Wow.
I can't believe that. I struggle with it. I think it
Okay.
is. I think it's amazing. I hope they lose.
Hater, dude.
I hope, honestly,
Venom and vitriol.
Screw Patrick Mahomes. Oh, Patrick Mahomes, it's such a good story. Travis Kelce, ooh, fat ass. I can't wait for them to. If they lose, I will not go live. But I just know in your heart I'll be celebrating tomorrow. Ding dong, the Chiefs are dead. Cannot wait.
All right.
Don't have to see his stupid ass brother.
It sounds like you're taking this personally. Dude.
I am very much.
Sounds like you're taking this personally.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Stay hard. That's exactly right. I hate the Chiefs. I hate everything about the Chiefs. Kansas City sucks. Their barbecue sucks. Their barbecue sauce sucks. Their weather sucks. Everything about Kansas City sucks.
Uh-huh.
Oh, but I live in Olathe. Is that different? No, you suck. I knew today would be shitty. What about Topeka, Monty? Topeka sucks too.
Everybody is outraged.
Wow, man. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Bradley Dunkel, steal. Okay. The more the Chiefs win, the more Morty gets upset and takes it personally, and thus gives me more joy.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I hope they lose. Bradley Dunkel, best ribs and rib tips ever. No.
Yeah, you're a big fan of the tip, huh?
Smoke and Bones Barbecue in Bountiful, Utah. Way better. Exactly right. Smokin' Joe's doesn't suck. Yes, it does. If it's in Kansas City.
Smokin' Joe?
I don't know, but if it's in Kansas City, it sucks. Turf Monster is after Howard. I hope. Okay. You know, if Will Howard falls on the Turf Monster again, please. JC, I dub the Monty, give them prize picks I never use. There you go. You know.
Yeah.
You know. All I can say is I hope the Texans win. I do. I don't know what is it about the Chiefs that makes them so punchable in the face. I don't know, because I really like Andy Reid.
They win. That's what it is.
No, I think it's Patrick Mahomes' creepy sexual assaulting brother.
Which is, just kind of weird.
Yeah, I hate that guy. Ow. That hurt. Sharice, I hate to say it, but the Chiefs will win. Me too. Breaking news, KC sucks, the Monty Show. Yeah, that's exactly
incredible.
Right. That's exactly
just
right.
Absolutely incredible.
I have to think this is a win cover over. I think that the Chiefs...
I think the Texans are going to cover this number. I don't think it's more. I think that it's a touchdown win for the Chiefs. That's it.
Here we go. Jake. So Jake's picking the Chiefs.
Know your role and shut your mouth.
Which is fine. I'm okay with it.
I'm picking the Chiefs to win the game, but I think the Texans are going to cover.
Jake's picking the Chiefs.
You're being a hater right now.
I am, because I hate Kansas City.
Stay hard.
I love the Chiefs in this matchup. I think Patrick Mahomes is built to go against this Chiefs defense. I think the Chiefs don't get into trouble until they run into Baltimore, who's going to beat the hell out of Buffalo.
Do you really think so?
I hope so. Buffalo sucks. Everything. No, I'm kidding.
Where's Big Daddy Magic?
I think my opinion is that Kansas City is just a really good, well-coached team that executes.
Yeah.
And I think that the development of Xavier Worthy as a route runner, I don't know how you're not impressed with that. He came into this league as a guy with straight line speed, and now he's got moves.
Yep.
He's got the jiggles and the wiggles. Like the
the jiggles and the wiggles.
He absolutely has become
a slippery family program.
That's what your mom said. He's become a slippery wide receiver. He's got that little fade back to he'll run up the hash, and he's got that little fade to the sideline now. Andy Reid is such a good teacher of the game of football.
Yeah.
That's why they win.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to hate Patrick Mahomes. I mean, his brother's a sexual assaulter, allegedly, so it's easy to hate him.
Well, not allegedly. It's on video.
It's on video and stuff. But I love the Chiefs in this game, Jake.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. It would be a shocking upset by the Texans. But, I think the thing that you're looking for in this game is, just trying to understand what kind of football are the Chiefs going to play to win playoff games, because it's one thing to win the regular season game against, the Raiders or against who the hell ever. But it's a different thing when it is the playoffs and there's expectations and typically we would expect the Chiefs to win this game by multiple possessions, 14, 17 points, and just dominate. But that's not who they are right now. They're playing close games where it comes down to Patrick Mahomes making a play here or play there to win a ball game. And in the playoffs, against the Texans, I expect you to beat the Texans. But I have to agree, remember, let's not forget. Was it not week 1 about, when they played Baltimore, and it took some dude stepping on the sideline in the back of the end zone for the Chiefs to win that game?
The end line?
The end line, whatever. Yeah, that's what it took.
Wearing the wrong color shoes.
Yeah, that's what it took for you to win that game. So
Jerky.
We'll see.
That's still amazing. Mike Smith, Andy Reid is the only funny thing on those insurance commercials. I agree. Jaden, good morning. Bro, I live right across the street from the Chiefs Stadium, Geha Field. I actually think it is Geha Field.
It is.
It's not Geha, but it's just better to say Geha Field.
Geha Field? What? Breaking news.
At least, Jaden, can you admit that Kansas City barbecue sucks? It's overrated. It's a marketing position. It's not a real thing.
No.
Maybe. Well, I'm glad to hear you're getting through that, Bradley. What is going on with Bradley?
What is Dinkle saying?
Yeah, Dunkle.
Hey, Dunkle Dinkle, what's up?
Dunkle said that's what your mom said.
Oh!
Okay. Sharice, the Chiefs are just a better team than the Texans. I would agree with that. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are not that team that you love, but you can't deny how good the Kansas City Chiefs are.
Yeah.
Right? That's difficult. I think it is, Lawrence Hatcher, Valley Girl wife. Okay. Okay. Lamont Tucker says he doesn't put the O on Ohio there. 45-17. Back it down. Let's see. Kansas City is Fresno minus no LA, San Francisco, or San Diego. Hence why people give them some respect. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. ACC West Coast Commissioner Gumby.
Wow.
Well, hello.
Dude, where have you been?
Good to see you. Good to see you, Gumby. Kenneth, Texans 31, but who are the Chiefs? Who are the chefs? That's great, but who are the chefs? 29.
Yeah.
Delaric, KC barbecue does not suck, but is overrated. Thank you. I've heard that about your mom. Never mind.
Wow.
See,
wow,
doesn't.
Bro, are you serious right
now? Dude.
Macaque.
Gumby. All right, I think we're all on the Chiefs. Commanders at Lions, Saturday, 8 p.m. on Fox.
It's time to get into a fight.
Minus 9.5, 55.5. I'm a little more towards this being a close game because I think both offenses will score. But this game's in Detroit. Are you still being stupid in saying that Washington is going to win the game?
Mm-hmm.
You are.
Mm-hmm. Indoor game, night game, nothing to lose for the Commanders.
Are we going to put a little wager on this game? And in the comment section, do you guys agree that the Washington Commanders, one of the stupidest names in sports, the Washington Commanders, do you guys agree that the Washington Commanders will upset the Detroit Lions? I do not. I think the Lions will win this game. It'll be a 10-point game. The Lions will win it with defense, and I think.
See, here's what concerns me.
Yes.
Is the odds that the Lions are going to win this game good? Yes, it is.
Yes,
Here's my concern. My concern is that come playoff time, not the regular season, come playoffs, this is a different team. Meaning this year they've got pressure to win. There's expectations. This isn't a sweetheart story anymore.
I agree.
This is a damn good football team that people expect to go a long way here. And too often, and every single year, we have one team in the playoffs that has expectations and then gets bounced in the first round. And that's the Detroit Lions this year. Hey, Ben Johnson's interviewing for jobs. Aaron Glenn's interviewing for jobs. We're talking about dudes interviewing. We're not talking about a great football team. And so my biggest concern is that we're still going to see big shots down the field by Daniels and company in Washington, and they're going to hit on those.
Are the Washington Commanders in a position where they're prepared for this environment? You beat Tampa, but Tampa is not Detroit.
Agreed.
You have a depth of weaponry that Detroit brings with a really accurate passer in Jared Goff. You have a really good quarterback. You have really good wide receivers. And I still think the one thing that concerns me is the Detroit defense does still tend to give up big plays. I think that's why this is a 10-point game.
Now, to that end, on the other side of the coin, I have to make the point that if they're taking shots, right? If Washington's taking a shot, a possession, you know that the odds of an interception happening go way up, right?
Way up.
Way up. So it will literally come down to, in my opinion, this game comes down to, does Detroit give up the big play, or does Detroit turn those big play attempts into interceptions? If they're getting 3 picks in this game, they're going to win this game going away. 3 possessions at least, 3 touchdowns at least. But if they give up those big plays and we're going to the half and they're down 7 points, that's where I get concerned.
Yeah, I look at this, man, some of the numbers coming out of, like, you look at total defensive numbers and you look at where the Washington Commanders are. I'm just going to keep saying it that way. I mean, they're giving up 327 yards a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at Detroit giving up 342 yards a game. I look at the pass defense and the yards a game, and the Washington Commanders are number 3 against the pass at 189 yards. And I look at the run, and this is where the Washington Commanders struggle.
Yes.
They're 3rd from the last in the NFL. And if Montgomery is able to play, and it looks like he will, Gibbs and Montgomery are a very formidable duel.
Yes.
And when you are giving up
the football
137 yards a game, and you look at Detroit only giving up 98 yards a game, and Washington needs to run the football to win the game, that's the matchup that I think could be very interesting.
Yeah.
And you look at all the other schematics and metrics in this game, Detroit only gives up 20 points a game. Washington gives up 23 points a game. Their defenses are very equal. And so if we start looking at offenses and what teams do well, the number 2 offense in the NFL, the Detroit Lions at 400 yards a game.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at the Washington Commanders at 396 yards a game.
Yeah.
This is an over game. This is going over the number. And I think it's going to come down to who can consistently run the football. And I think that's Detroit. And that's why I think they're going to control the clock, limit Washington's possessions. And I think Detroit's going to win the game.
Yeah. I don't necessarily disagree with that at all, but
yeah. Boyd Lake. Commanders is a dumb name. Yes, it is. The Commanders. Yes, it is. Delaric. Rumor has it they will be back to the next year. No, they won't. Nobody's going to let that happen. Lawrence, Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes' wife. That's what I meant. Yeah, she's annoying too.
Yeah.
So it's the Guardians, Boyd. The Guardians are close. It's the Gardos. Charisse, I have a lot of respect for C.J. Stroud because he's a former quarterback for the Ohio State. But Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback in all areas.
Well, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. Like, that's not in question.
He's not Caleb Williams. Washington should have stayed with the Washington Football Club, which would have made them the Clubbers.
Who are you, the Utah Hockey Club?
Okay. The Uties. All right, big game for the Uteruses tonight.
Bro.
Okay. Brandon Butler, as long as the Lions don't give up the Hail Mary, they will be fine.
See,
Did you have to?
Yeah.
Did you have to do that?
Hey, look here, man.
I'm still not over that. Gumby, if they're the Washington Commanders, do they go commando?
See what he did there?
Got the boys swinging. If Barry Sanders couldn't get it done, then I'm ye of little faith. Well, I think they're better. This is the best in edition of the.
This is better than any of those teams, any of the Megatron teams.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly right, Brandon Butler. It still hurts.
Yeah.
It still hurts. All right. So I'm going Kansas City. I'm going Detroit. And now we start to punch people in the face.
This game is going to be wild.
This case is full of upsets.
Dude, first of all, got to talk about the weather in this game. This game is going to be a snow globe. They're reporting 5 to 6 inches of
That's
snow
what you
through
report.
You are what you are.
Damn. Yeah, they're saying that there's going to be a lot of snow, a lot of weather. It's going to be really cold. So to me, this has signature Saquon Barkley game written all over it.
Well, Sunday, we are looking at 34 for a high. And if you look at game time, it's game time for the Commandos. If you look at I'm a terrible person. If you look at the hourly forecast, it is supposed to be heavily snowing during the game.
Yeah.
And you are looking at somewhere around 26 degrees at kickoff. That favors the team from Los Angeles. It does not, actually. I think the Rams are going to win this game. I am so pleasantly surprised at the defense this Rams team is playing right now.
Yeah.
And I still don't love Jalen Hurts in big moments. And I know we're all reading motivational books on the sideline in Philadelphia, or excuse me, Philadelphia. But I'm not here for it. I think that this kind of weather limits Saquon Barkley's ability to jump over you backward. I think this game will come down to who can execute in the snow. And I think you have a lot of dudes on the Rams who can execute in the snow. Matthew Stafford's a baller. I love this defense. I've got the Rams winning at 56-10. I think this game goes under 43.5.
Yeah.
I think this is a 21-17.
Uh-huh.
I think that's where I've got it. 38 points, 21-17 Rams.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tom Dean gets 5 Monty Show memberships.
Hey, Tom.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Eagles 24-3. Lamont Tucker says. I'm Team Puka Nakua.
Yeah, Puka Nakua.
Puka Nakua. Okay. Jakey 5 to 6 inches. Listen, you guys, just because he is a grower, not a shower, doesn't mean that you should bully him.
Hiscock.
Everybody has their shortcomings.
I need a dick.
Little dude's got his issues, man. J2H always adds 20% for the tip.
Holden Middick.
Oh, we could only hang on for so long. Rams got healthy at the right time. Yes, they did, Mayor. Good to see you. Let's see. Brandon Butler. I trust McVay a lot more than the Eagles' entire coaching staff. I agree.
Yeah.
24-21 Rams in overtime. Okay. Rams secret weapon, a bus load of Karens to the game.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. The eye patch. Rams going to get trucked. Philly by 14. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And finally, the Super Bowl champion to be Baltimore Ravens heading to Buffalo to take on the most overrated quarterback in the history of the National Football League. Joe Montana. And no, I'm kidding. Where do you guys come down on this? Because again, on Sunday in Buffalo, I'd like you to know right now it's 1 degree in Buffalo. Sunday?
Dude, is that real?
Sunday in Buffalo. The high will be -6.
The high is -6. Bro. I'm sorry. You just said the high. What's the low?
The low on Sunday. The low is, it doesn't tell me what the low is. The afternoon, god damn, minus 12 at kickoff. With a real field temperature of minus 25. Speaking of the tip,
just so you can go to Pound Town.
Tuck and fold, bro.
Dude.
Minus 25.
You can't take the Ravens in this game, dude.
Yes, you can.
No,
Why can't you?
Because Josh Allen thrives in snowy, cold games. We've seen this repeatedly. Repeatedly, we have seen this.
Great. Let him thrive in cold games. The Ravens are built to play this kind of football. And why do I feel like this helps the Ravens? Because Zay Flowers isn't going to play. You're going to have to run the football. And you're not going to be able to jump over people. You're not going to be able to get crazy and rule Josh Allen. Those days are over. Lamar Jackson doesn't have to throw the football to win this game. He can run, and how he runs. And King Henry, this is where Derrick Henry wins you a game. I'm telling you, my guy Roquan in that Baltimore defense coming for that ass. Baltimore is winning this game 71-6. And I feel like this is going to be 27-21. Baltimore is going to win the game.
Yeah, I disagree. I think it's 27. I would even say less than that. 24-21 Buffalo.
Okay. 24-21 Buffalo. Cherie says the Bills prefer to lose to Kansas City in the next
Correct.
round.
That's correct. Yes, that is correct.
Patch. I like the Bills in the freezer, but if the Ravens win, no surprise. I agree. LJ over Allen in this game, yes. Tom Dean, Ravens to win if they learned after last year's Chiefs playoff game to quit leaving the ball out for grabs. Well, there is that. JC, Josh Allen grew up 10 miles from here, and the lowest it gets here is 35. Nobody has an advantage when it's going to be minus 12.
Yeah, are we going to do the whole thing where guys are out there without shirts in pregame warming up? Is that what we're doing? No shirts and balaclavas?
I believe it will. That's just my opinion. I believe it will.
Dude, -6 is a new level of cold, bro. That's tough, man.
No. 9-7, not picking a winner.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I think I have to favor them in this. I have to favor the Ravens. Real quick, let's hate on somebody else that Jake is jealous of. Should Tom Brady have to quit his NFL on Fox job? There are people. Those people. There are people who think that Tom Terrific should have to quit his job at Fox because he is a part owner of the Raiders and he is involved in their coaching search and interviews. No, he should not have to quit his job. First of all, the Raiders suck and they're not involved in anything. So now, obviously, Tom is going to be dealing with guys like Ben Johnson. Is it a conflict of interest? Yes. Does that matter? No. Why do I care? Tom Brady's actually pretty good at the whole Troy Aikman thing. And I think he's done a nice job. And I think that Tom Brady should not have to quit. And I don't care if it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah, I think people hate on this simply because it's Tom Brady. That's it.
Because it's Tommy?
Yeah, because it's Tommy. You know, ye of Deflategate, ye of losing his wife to rolling around on the mat and the jiu-jitsu instructor, you know, that guy. Yeah, they hate because it's Tom Brady. And I get it. I don't think he should have to quit his broadcasting job. I do think that, you know, just in fairness, Fox should probably have to put out a disclaimer of some kind.
Why?
Because, dude, it's a conflict of interest, and you need to be honest about that.
Who cares? In all honesty, who gives a rat's ass about a conflict of interest for a broadcaster? Does that really impact the way he calls games? You really think that impacts the way he calls games?
That's not the point. It doesn't matter. I don't think it does, but it doesn't matter if it does or not. It's simply that there is a conflict, and we don't see this in sports very much. When's the last time you saw a broadcaster who's also an owner of a team? Like, you don't
It's
really,
never
you
happened
don't
before.
you don't see it. So
Did we have to have a conflict of interest when John Madden quit the Raiders and started broadcasting?
no, but he was he an owner?
No, but he might as well have been.
Yeah, but he wasn't. That's what I'm saying. It's because he is.
Yeah, I think there's all kinds of conflicts of interest. I think. Well, and this is the better point. I think Tom Brady needs to quit because Greg Olson is way better in the booth. I don't disagree with that. Let the TV market decide. What Tommy needs is to lay off the Botox and fillers. Wow.
Haters, dude.
Savage.
Haters.
Okay.
Ferris Khan, when it dips below 60 degrees in Carlsbad, all the puffer jackets and Uggs come out of the woodwork. Softies.
By the way, it looks like we have the Supreme Court has officially ruled that TikTok can be banned in the U.S. So
that doesn't mean Donnie's going to do it.
Yeah, it's leaving. It's apparently its future. Obviously, its future's in limbo. But
I think that there will be legislation passed in the next 2 days that will stop the TikTok ban from happening. I think that Supreme Court says TikTok can be banned in the U.S., leaving its future in limbo.
Yeah. I think it just needs to be sold to someone who is U.S. based. That's the real issue. That's what everyone's up in arms about.
We should not get into this.
No, but my point just is that the question is, would you guys be upset if TikTok got banned?
Would you be upset if Elon got TikTok? Yes. Now, for those of you who don't know, our high and mighty Senate and Congress have said that TikTok is dangerous to the U.S. It's not. They have continued to try and say that China runs TikTok because China has a significant interest in ByteDance, who is the parent company of TikTok. Essentially, they said you sell TikTok to an American company or we're turning it off. We're banning it. TikTok has said they're going to turn the app off in the U.S. on Sunday. Congress is going to extend that deadline. I think TikTok will. If TikTok goes away, it's because TikTok turned it off on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing the government's going to do. Because frankly, why would Donnie want TikTok to go away? He wouldn't.
Yeah.
He wouldn't. And the thing that nobody understands, and maybe you don't understand this either, do you guys understand how much tax revenue is paid in the United States from the TikTok shop? Billions of dollars. I mean, and I know everybody's like, oh, Marty, it's the shop. Who cares? The TikTok shop is rapidly approaching Amazon numbers. Do you guys understand that? Do you know how much? Do you see the climb of the TikTok shop? Do you know how much money we're talking about? Tens of billions of dollars for small business owners in the U.S. Do you understand that Americans have entire business models built on the TikTok shop? It does not behoove, and this is what stupid face senators and Congress people, it does not behoove the United States to shut down TikTok.
Yeah.
But it's what we're doing now in these PR battles.
Yeah.
It's a PR battle. We want to look strong. I stood up there and I made TikTok go away. America, bitches.
Bald eagles.
Like, that's what we do. Look at this tattoo of the bald eagle on my bicep because I fought against TikTok.
It's like an act of Congress.
We're fighting a ghost. And I think that it is very interesting to me.
I mean, would you guys be upset? Like, if it were to get turned off on Sunday, would you be upset? Is TikTok something that you guys are enjoying, all in on? Like, that's what I'm curious about. The whole political conversation of it obviously is ongoing and will forever be ongoing. But I just think in the day-to-day, like, a lot of people use TikTok, obviously, And
you know what the funny thing is? Everybody is going to this. I can't remember the name of the app. It's like Red Door or the alternative to TikTok. Everybody's already going there. Most people have profiles on there. U.S. government's totally fine with it. And it's wholly owned by the Chinese government. And the privacy, the issue with TikTok and all these, blowhard senators trying to ban it. Oh, it's there. They have privacy. It's security. The privacy permissions on whatever, I can't remember what it's called, but let's just call it Red Door. The privacy issues on Red Door are exponentially larger. Exponentially larger. You have to give far more access to your data. Everybody was worried about that TikTok was placing cookies and spiders on your phone that would allow them to follow you wherever you go. Like every other website does.
Red Note.
Red Note, thank you.
Yes.
But we're all going to go to Red Note, and it's going to be great, even though it's really owned by the Chinese government.
Yeah. Nice.
It's a PR win. If it's so bad, why does Elon want to buy TikTok? Think about that. And I'm telling you, the TikTok shop is billions of dollars.
Yeah.
I don't think it happens, but
I would be surprised.
Nah, bro, I don't use TikTok. I enjoy time with my family and enjoying life. I don't use Twitter almost at all.
Yeah.
I don't ever get into the comments or the notifications or whatever because it's a death pool now. All you get on Twitter now is porn and violence.
Yeah.
That's it. I have really curtailed who I follow, and I tweet occasionally. I use it for the show. I use TikTok for our show all the time because it's better interaction with actual human beings.
Yeah.
I think, without question in my mind, the algorithm on TikTok is superior. That's why Elon wants to buy it. But there's a lot of people who don't want Elon to buy TikTok because they believe it'll be a monopoly.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark Cuban's group also has it, but there's so many people trying to buy TikTok.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is crazy. All right, let's see. Ferris Khan, Monty taking me posts and as his Monty taking my me posts and his talking points.
What are you talking about, dude?
What are you talking about? David, Elon just wants to control the social narrative. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Blue Sky is way better. I have an account. I don't. Somebody started a Blue Sky account for me. Somebody started a Red Note account for me. Created a Red Note account for me.
Oh.
That's how I found out about it. And then I did research and, Elon ruined Twitter. Elon ruined the truck. No one will stay if he buys. I think that Elon is an American success story who doesn't have many successes. Am I the only one who doesn't understand the Cybertruck?
Yeah, I don't understand why people bought the Cyber. I do, actually. It was to look cool. That's all.
It was a flex.
Yeah.
That's now worth $76,000 on average. And going down. Have you guys seen this, that the Cybertruck market is crashing? And I don't think the terrorist attack had anything.
No, I just think that they don't hold their value because it's such an expensive vehicle.
And there are people who paid over $200,000 for them. There are people trying to sell their Cybertrucks for $150,000.
Yeah.
They're not worth it. I've never understood that.
Yeah.
Gumby says, I couldn't care less about the Cybertruck. Never understood it. Never understood it. Travis says, Elon haters. I don't hate Elon. I just think Elon hasn't.
Again, telling the truth. We're not hating.
Yeah, I don't hate Elon.
It's just,
See, nothing is personal to me. I don't care. I am at the point in my life where I really don't care what people think of me or what I say. I'm just going to tell you my honest opinion. And I think Elon Musk doesn't have a lot of successes. I think Elon Musk is a guy who destroyed Twitter.
Yeah.
I think Twitter
so different now.
Twitter sucks, dude. Twitter is not. It's terrible. And it used to be pretty good, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
It is. Meta, Twitter, Instagram is even. I get so much spam on Instagram now. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It is brutal for me. Craig says, big truck, small wiener. Elon, not a success or an American, born third. But who? Elon Musk is an American. And he's a billionaire. He's one of the richest dudes in the world, depending on who you ask. Let's just put it, he's better at launching rockets than he is at building electric vehicles.
Yeah.
His Twitter thing, terrible. What he did to Twitter, horrendous. It's terrible. Cybertruck cannot be used as an actual truck. No side loading, no working racks for long tool. It's not. That was one of the earliest revelations is you can't actually, like a contractor can't use a Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Eye patch, the Cybertruck market in North Scottsdale is booming. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm glad whoever drives a Cybertruck because we know who the town douchebag is. There you go. It's 1900 again. The billionaires got their government. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Mr. Preston, full electric vehicles are terrible. Nothing against Elon. Hybrid is the way. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. From our official show mechanic.
The Monty program mechanic.
Yes. Elon doesn't have any success. That's not what I said. I did not say that.
See, this is the problem. Why is it so hard to talk about Elon?
What I said was he's better at launching rockets than building electric vehicles. I said everybody that likes Elon is going to tell you, oh, he's amazing. Is he an American success story? Yes. Is he a great businessman? Not in my opinion. Not in my opinion. Is what he did launching rockets amazing? Yes. Is what he did with Twitter amazing? No. Is Tesla amazing? No, it's not. No, it's not. And what he's turned Twitter into, when people tell you who they are, believe them. 2022 Kia Fire Ride is the future. Okay. Nightmare. Supreme Court just upheld the TikTok ban as we were talking.
Welcome to the show, my guy.
I just think, you know what, man? I think TikTok is a very interesting discussion. And I'm curious to see what Donnie does with it. I'm curious to see.
I'm just curious in general. Like, I think people are so worried about like what's, oh, he's going to get inaugurated here in like 6 days or whatever it is, or
Monday, I think, isn't it Monday?
3 days, like, oh man, the world's going to burn to the ground.
The world's not going to burn.
The world's not going to burn to the ground. Like you have to be careful how far you take it.
I think Donald Trump is well aware the economy is going to be heavily impacted from the first second he is president.
Yeah.
And I am really interested to see. And TikTok is, and I know you guys don't believe this, and TikTok is a huge economic infrastructure of its own.
Yeah, I agree with you on the shop.
That's the TikTok, and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
The TikTok shop is worth tens of billions of dollars.
Yeah, and I think on the back of that, the other thing that's really interesting to me, just because I love talking philosophy, right? Like I don't really like getting into the weeds about like policies and this and that, and like I'm not too interested in that. But philosophically, there's a lot of rumor mill, a lot of talk right now about like, hey, like what's his stance on crypto? What are we doing with crypto? Like, how's that going to impact our economy? Like those type of conversations. That's the stuff that interests me. Like philosophically speaking, what do our political leaders, what are they prioritizing?
And I think the hard part is things like TikTok massively impact the way business is done and massively impact our youth, whether you want them to be or not. The young demos that TikTok provides, they're hard to find. The business success of TikTok is not video. It's not pictures or stories. It is demographics buying products in the TikTok shop.
Yeah.
And I think if you turn off TikTok in this country, the unintended consequences will be severe. And I don't love social media, but I am also not the guy who's over here dog whistling about how TikTok is going to end America. Because let me tell you something.
Yeah.
TikTok is not on the top 1,000 list of biggest problems we have. It's not. And I think that's why Donald Trump has not ever said he's going to ban TikTok. Look at what he said recently. We're buying Greenland. We're turning into the Gulf of America. Has he said he's going to ban TikTok day one? Stayed out of that fight. Elon Musk, who is Donnie's guy right now, for how long? Because I think that's a combustion waiting to ignite.
And that's how it works. It's usually, yeah.
Do you think Elon Musk could be all in on buying TikTok if Donnie was going to ban it? No, he would not. I'm just telling you, it is going to be very interesting to see, because I think we're going to largely know what the economy is going to do in the next 12 months, in the next 6 weeks. Where's the stock market? What happens with things like TikTok? Are Americans going to start spending more money? Because inflation's cooled. There's no arguing with that. Stock market's all-time high. No arguing with that. But it's just going to be very interesting to see, can Donald Trump deliver on these economic promises of cutting food cost in half on day one, of cutting gas prices in half on day one? I don't know. But if you ban TikTok, and if TikTok goes away, you remember on January 17th, the two of us talked about this.
Yeah.
We all talked about this. The unintended consequences of banning TikTok will be severe. They'll be severe, man. Kale Mitchell, yeah, but the market is a house of cards. I don't think it's a house of cards. I think what the untold truth of the stock market is, it's inconsequential to America. Because who's winning on the stock market? We're not. The stock market is where the rich dudes go and get richer. It's why senators insider trade all day long. The real indicator is, can millennials buy houses?
Mm-hmm.
Can millennials afford eggs? Have you guys seen the price of eggs? Can millennials afford gas? We were in Vegas the other day, $4 a gallon for gas. We were in Los Angeles 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Can millennials, when are we going to start buying cars again? When are we going to start buying houses again? There's a house down the street from me that's worth $200,000 that has been sitting on the market for over a year because they're asking $600,000 for it. That's what so all of these economic indicators, that's what we need to watch over the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And how that works. JC, Nancy Pelosi, bro, you might want to get in line and check your facts on who's buying stocks in the Senate. Because it's not Democrats. We got to stop this, and I'll continue to say this. It's not Democrats versus Republicans. We've got to get back to being Americans, and you go look at which side of the aisle, they're about dead even now. Every senator's doing it. The stock market is where you see the health of corporations, not the economy. I would agree with that. 60 egg box at Walmart is $37.
Yeah.
Look, have you bought eggs at Costco lately? No, you haven't, because they're not selling eggs. Anybody hear about that?
Yeah.
I don't know what the update on that is, but 36 eggs for $12 in Costco. 36 for $12. Let that sink in. And is Costco back to selling eggs? I haven't looked in a while. They use the media and the S&P to give us the illusion that things are going well in the economy. We'll see. We'll see, man. David, comment dump. David Ute fan. Houses sit on the market because the market will not sustain the prices. And yeah, I don't know what fixes the housing market. I don't know what fixes the housing market. I truly have no idea. There you go. Enjoy the NFL this weekend. Enjoy your days off. Enjoy your long weekend. Pimp's going pimp.
Uh-huh.
Go Irish.
It's not going to be a good Monday.
Thanks for the show. Until Monday. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Be warm. Say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.